All right. Hello, 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 hello. Well, I guess I'll just get started. Hello, this is gonna be a BG roundtable. However, I didn't really feel like you know, asking everybody rant or kind of dragging them in. So I just kind of announced that I will be doing one, and then if people do want to join in the group, they can. But I'm also somewhat comfortable of soloing this if I have to. Preferably I would prefer, someone to bounce opinions off of, but kind of okay with it either way. I wanted to do one, and we don't really have that many opportunities nowadays due to like qualifying for Lobby Legends and all that to do these roundtables since people are pretty busy trying to grind for top 16. So it's kind of hard sometimes to get everyone together because this doesn't really help you climb. I mean, there sometimes the information is good for maybe discovering like heroes that you're underestimating or whatnot. But generally, when it's Lobby Legends time, it's kind of tough to spend like a day or like half a day just like talking about the kind of things. But I thought today was a good window to do it. We pretty much have all the information about the next patch, and we will be um today doesn't really matter, right? This is the last day of the buddy meta, so I figured it would be good. I'm Collins. I mean, this is my channel, so I mean, so we just talk Hearthstone here. But yeah, there might be other people joining us. There might not. I mean, it depends on whether they want to or not, but we shall see. But I guess kind of maybe first things first. I think the most important thing, right, will be um Buddy just kind of talked about their removal, how important they were, what we think about it, or so, that kind of thing. I'm reusing this picture because I thought it's fitting. Don't. I'm not making extra work for me anyways for this. So, um, just generally, I do think buddies were an interesting addition to the game. There were a lot of, at least when they were initially announced, right, the buddies were going to be in. I was very skeptical, right? I wasn't sure they were going to get things right. I think it's going to be so hard to balance the buddies. And also, once the reveals started coming for buddies, a lot of them just really seemed very overpowered compared to some of the other ones. Like, I remember I thought Brand's buddy was insane. I thought, Ticketus was a little bit, awful at the time because it didn't give you like the next one. It gave you the original one. Vol'jin looked good. I didn't catch Vol'jin. Um, one. Uh, but there were a lot of really interesting buddies that I was just worried and scared about when they were announced, and then once they came in and we really started to play the buddies, like they were broken. I was like, yeah, these are not balanced. Fortunately, I believe they had a balance patch like relatively early. I think like after the first week, maybe first week and a half, they really nerfed a lot of the tier two, the tier, yeah, the tier two buddies, right? They really took a lot of the initial brunt because I mean I still maintain the fact that tier two buddies are just inherently broken compared to tier threes and tier four buddies because tier two buddies you can get the golden version before you have a direction, and I think that's extremely powerful where you can get a five, or usually it's six nowadays when now that people are comfortable with buddies. If you have a tier two buddy, you pretty much guarantee a six, and a lot of times that can be Eliza. A lot of times that can be Caligos. That can be Buster. That can be Goldrin. Sometimes with some heroes, where you get it early enough, you're not super unhealthy, and you can build your comp around that. And I really think that's a very powerful advantage compared to some of the tier 3s and tier 4s. If you don't have a direction with those tier buddies, if you're trying to rely on the triple to give you direction, you're going to be dead. So I really think when they initially created the buddies and put a bunch of them on tier 2, the fact that so many of them could get direction and have tempo, Illidan was a mess. There were so many like just crazy tempo buddy heroes that it just felt like a fiesta. And fortunately, they did adjust that pretty quickly. They did kind of nerf a lot of the high performing ones, and they made it feel a little bit better. But I still don't think overall they really achieved that balance that they were looking for. A lot of times when it comes to like BG balance, I always feel like they don't balance enough, or they don't balance like relatively quickly either. I'm always thinking, oh, this hero's busted, please adjust, and like months will go before it gets changed, or months will go and it won't even get changed. Like we can kind of take a look at some of the strongest heroes right now, even after all of the battlegrounds here, right? Number 1 is Mutants. And Mutants did not get touched at all from the beginning of Buddies till the end of Buddies. And Mutants is just like the best hero. And there's a huge gap between Mutants and any other hero. And this is a buddy that did not get changed at all. Same buddy from the beginning of the release to the end of the release. And it's just the best hero. Like by the, or at least the most, like maybe best hero is arguable, but the most consistent hero, I don't think that's really arguable. But there was no change to it, no nothing. They were just like, this is fine, right? But normally, I if buddies were keeping around, I would take a look at this and say, oh, there's like a half a like 0.5% placement gap between Mutinous and any other hero. Maybe that needs to be adjusted, right? So I would probably adjust the hero in some way. You could make it like this hero has a lot of levers to pull. You could adjust the initial stats of the Mutinous buddy. You could adjust the tier of it. It's still not tier 4. You could maybe adjust some of the the abilities of Mutinous, even though I don't think you should nerf the ability of Mutinous itself, right? I think the ability is pretty cool, but you can still adjust the buddy itself to make it a little bit weaker, right? So I do think that kind of stuff, right? If we keep going down, right? No, next is Millhouse, which Millhouse has an interesting buddy. I mean, I think the buddy itself is like, it's hard to balance because of the interactions and how you can just like cycle things for free. It really just kind of alleviates some of Millhouse's like problems in the mid to late game when you have this buddy, because you're spending 2 gold to get a reroll on the tier that you want. Pretty powerful. So I don't know. I mean, Mukla, I think Mukla is like generally fine. Like Mukla is one of those heroes where I think is good, but the downsides are pretty evident. And the downsides are even more prominent when you're against better players, because they also get a banana that they can use, and because of that, your advantage isn't that high, and then they can use your lead to kind of fix their buddy meter and then win the game. So Mukla doesn't really win, but it's generally fine. Flurgo is still super high even with the nerfs. But I do think it's a hard hero to balance. But they are balancing it in different ways. They ended up nerfing Murlocs entirely instead of nerfing Flurgirl Buddy, which is generally fine. I think Murlocs have been a problem. Like that's a whole nother discussion in terms of how good Murlocs are and how prominent they force your strategies to be. Where if Murlocs are in, you kind of need to fully acknowledge that and play with the knowledge that someone can have poison, someone can easily make Amalgadon, someone can easily get like small poisons. That's a lot harder to do with the SI Fin nerf, but before that, that was really just something you could just randomly lose to. They have no board, but they just have like 3/2 poisons, and that's good enough to beat you. Alec here, I may be balanced, but I like Alec here as a hero. It is too strong though if you get it with Macaw. Like the Macaw synergy is really powerful, and also if Murloc's are in it, you can get poison on everything. It's also so strong. So I mean, it's hard to balance. The Deathwing, right, used to be pretty weak, but they buffed the hero, and it got a lot better. But it's still not a hero that really dominates. It's really when you start going down to like Finley. I still think Finley's buddy is not really fair at all. The fact that you get an extra gold, the fact you can hit a tier 4 for tier 3 and really just dominate the lobby if you get a good hit is so broken. Vol'jin as well. I still think like Vol'jin has the highest win rate in the game. I'm pretty sure. I don't think there's going to be anyone really close. And the buddy's still, I think, problematic. Even though they tried to nerf it as much as they could, they made it to tier 4. I still think more could have been done. This would require like more like thought process and how to like elegantly nerf the buddy in a way that still feels playable. Because a lot of times when they do nerfs, they kind of over nerf things. I would say I don't think it's easy to nerf a hero that's doing well and not over nerf it on accident, right? You can see it with Innie. Um, they nerfed it and then they nerfed it again, right? Because they under nerfed and then they over nerf because they just they want to make sure that it's not too like the people aren't frustrated with the hero, but then sometimes you can go too far. But I mean, it's a hard job to do. I do understand that, but it's still there. Like, there, when some heroes have these insane win rates, it's just something that you want to look at and see what can we do anything more, right? And can we do it in an elegant way? And sometimes that's hard, but I do think with Vol'jin there was a way to do that that wasn't done. Was there a patch document? No, there should theoretically there should be a patch document coming out today where they have everything revealed. Like that should happen today because tomorrow is the day of the patch, so there should be like a final here's everything that we're going to change. We pretty much know everything that's going to change though, but it is out now. Okay. So it just came out right now. Sweet. So yeah, yeah. Well, we could take a look at everything. I mean, I already know everything, but we can also kind of oh no, we don't know the armor updates. Okay. Okay, okay. That is true. I did not know about the armor updates. So that's something we can take a look at. Okay. So um how would I add that in? I guess I can add that in, huh? But yeah, I mean, we don't have to talk about the armor updates right now, but that is something we will talk about later on, most likely, because it is pretty important to know what the armor updates are. Like a quick aside on just armor, I don't think armor is gonna fix everything. Like there's too many heroes without their buddies. I think are just going to be unplayable, and even with the armor changes, it's not gonna save them. It's really not. So I just think like they just need to like delete some heroes. Like it's not
If
gonna
I
be
may
good enough.
interject,
Okay, go for it.
hi. I honestly feel like even with buddies, that's the case, right? If
To
you
be
take
fair,
into account like strong heroes with strong buddies, there are so many heroes right now that are at like the maximum armor or near maximum armor that you basically don't want to play if you can avoid it at all, right?
yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Like you
Hello.
got the bad buddies, like you got the bad heroes getting better with good buddies, but I feel like most of them are still just bad.
Yeah, it is unfortunate that that's my issue with like the buddy discussion. They never fixed buddies, right? Like we've had buddies for like 3 months or so, and it really didn't feel like they got to a point where like as a high level player I'd be like, yeah, I mean, it's pretty balanced. There's maybe like one or two outliers, but no, I really don't feel like that. I feel like there's like 20 outliers or maybe 30, and then everyone else is like struggling.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it definitely feels that way. Like, regardless of any other impact that buddies have, they don't feel like heroes are like on an even playing field at all.
yeah, like we were hopeful at the beginning that oh, this is another level they can use to kind of make everything more balanced, but it really just made some of the OP heroes even stronger, which I just can't understand
Yeah.
the design of that. And then some of the unplayed heroes maybe got a slight bump, and then there was like some outliers where without their buddies they'd be unplayable, but with their buddies they're playable, and I think that was done well, right? But
Yeah.
usually those were done in like toxic ways where Guff just deals 15 to you and then dies afterwards.
Yeah. Yeah. Feels like it's just another lever that if it's not in the exact right position, it's actively making the game worse instead
Yeah,
of being a way to balance it.
it's definitely tough. I mean, it's a tough thing to do, but I mean, I think that's why I would have liked more patches, more like small adjustments. I I've always been a fan of the like when Dota Auto Chess came out, every week they would buff the weakest minion of the weakest minion and nerf the strongest minion. And I really would love that implementation in Battlegrounds where they would buff the weakest hero and then nerf the strongest hero like every week. Like just like here's a something. A little something
I
every week, a little change. To kind of make things more even, but it's
Definitely interesting. I do think that's. I mean, it's. I don't think it's really doable with battlegrounds, right?
it has to be.
With the way we're no, but with the way we're working with like such small numbers, right? Give a thing plus one somewhere, and it's completely broken, basically.
I know, but
Um, I have like, I've been of the opinion that you can use that basis, but basically make it just have it be a rotating pool of heroes and just constantly rotate out the best and the worst performing at the time, right?
uh,
So you have fewer heroes in total, but you do still have that idea that the best and the worst are constantly leaving. But instead of buffing and nerfing them, they're just rotating out heroes.
I could see that too. So, but then would that end up creating where it just be like two heroes are swapping out every time where it's like, oh, Mutant is out. Oh, Vol'jin's out, but Mutant is back. But okay, Mutant is out, but Vol'jin's
Yeah,
back.
I don't know. I don't know. I really don't know. I feel like that is maybe also just a way to give them time to nerf or alter something without it having to be in the game in the meantime, right? Because if you remove a single hero because it's problematic and then bring it back later, that's really, putting focus on we messed this thing up, it's bad. But if it's just out of rotation because the rotation is a normal thing, then you can bring it back in an adjusted way and then it feels a lot more natural, right?
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I think there are too many heroes just generally. Um,
Yeah,
uh,
I think that's a big part of why there are so many heroes that are bad with buddies. It's not because of buddies. It's
no.
because there's too many heroes.
Yeah, and it's hard to fully balance that well, right? If you have like
Yep.
200 heroes, like
It's hard to balance them while keeping it interesting, right?
yeah,
Because you can do something like Guff's buddy, where yeah, Guff is balanced now, but also is it interesting? No, you just deal 16 to people and then die. Or
yeah.
15.
I mean,
Yeah.
it can be interesting if you high roll and whatnot, right? But
Yeah.
generally,
Like very limited.
yeah, it's a tough hero to feel like you have agency, right? I think
Yeah.
for a lot of like high level players, they like thinking that they like feeling that they have decisions or their decisions mattered or what I do here really impacts what I do next turn. And when it comes to Guff, you meander around till you get your buddy, and then you play your buddy, and then you hope it's good.
Yep.
And if it's not good, you're really behind. And if it
But
is good, then you have a chance, right? So
and high level players need that, right? They need their actions to matter because if for the most part they don't, their average placement is going to be too low to keep climbing or to keep their MMR up, right? So you
yeah.
have to do better than others. So you have to get that decision somewhere, right? You need to do something different to gain that MMR to get the wins.
Yeah, you can't have all your plays be obvious, which sometimes that's what buddies did.
Yep.
Where it's like, okay, I do this until the buddy happens, and I use my buddy, and then from what the buddy does, then I know exactly what I need to do, and you
Yep.
can pretty
And
much
either
guarantee.
you win
Yeah,
or you don't.
yeah. Like Chroma Wing was the like one of the biggest offenders. You know, when it's like, oh, I need a Forcer Chroma Wing. That's my job, and then okay, with that I get high attack. Now I can eat it on Mutinous, or I can switch it with Vulcan, and then I just get my stats, and then I do it. I wait till the second or golden buddy, and then I do it again, and then I'm done. Right? It's like once you understand that, it's very easy to play it out. And the same thing with like Elise when people figure it out. Oh, I need to get the buddy with Elise, and I'm leveling to 6, and then double Cali hopefully, and then
Yeah.
and then I'm done.
Yeah.
Right?
So that was also with the change to Elise, right? Because before her buddy was changed, it was much more stick on 4, hope that you get like discounted maps over time, because you couldn't power level through, right?
Yeah, that's true. So it's but that makes it hard for like good players to stand out, right? Because it means that half of the game is already like set in stone for you, and
Yeah.
if you can play half of the game like on autopilot, the a lot of a lot of people can do that, right? Like, oh, just do these turns every single time the same, and you're good. Like a lot of people get to do that, and then it really lessens how much you can like create a lead through your own skill. So I do think that was a pretty disappointing like factor of buddies, but it doesn't mean buddies were bad. I just think like they needed more balance so that there's more decision making, and so that you have more hero options. Another thing like with buddies, there's like one clear hero that's better than everyone else. So you see a lot of the same heroes. I mean that happened even before, right? But because you're seeing so many people play the same hero, you get good at them, and then like everyone's doing the same thing. Oh, Galaxy's in the lobby, I need to play that. Oh, Tess in the lobby, and I don't. Tess being good is also like a whole another discussion. It's like why
Yeah.
is
We've made the statement before: if Tess is good, the meta is not,
yeah.
and it's always been true, I think.
I mean, Tess is gonna be good tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, if everyone's playing Nagas, then Tess steals all the Nagas. And,
I have an idea of like it might not be Nagas being played at the highest
I
level.
can see that. Yeah, I
But I mean, obviously people are gonna try Nagas initially, but I do think, based on some of the reveals that we will get into, there's a lot of they changed more than Nagas,
yeah
and sometimes I don't know if they realize how much like one card adjustment can really like shape the whole meta game, right? We've seen it before, and they're just like
yeah.
casually like, oh yeah, we're doing this so that Nagas aren't broken, but then you're like, well, you're giving the other minion types of broken.
You have to take into account with Nagas added. There's there's what 9 total tribes, right? And only 5 are in, and one of them is always Nagas.
Yeah,
So any other tribe other than Nagas are going to be in exactly half of the games.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's very true, right?
So that's gonna shape what you see played, right?
Murlocs in half games, like I
Yeah.
I know that's
Yeah. Yeah.
that's so crazy. Holy moly! I'm pretty worried, but I'm always worried. I'm probably the just perpetually worried when it comes to changes. So I gotta see. Do you want to just go into the some of the cards that are being changed? I guess.
Yeah.
All
I
right.
guess changes first or Nagas first.
I was doing the changes first, just because
Okay.
that was how it was in the order. So we have Amalgadon leaving, but it's getting replaced by Mantid Queen, but also by Nightmare Amalgam. I guess that's pretty fair. Spore is leaving, getting replaced by Leroy Jenkins or Leroy the Reckless. Seafood's leaving, getting replaced by I don't remember Young
Yeah.
Charged
Young Murkai.
Young Murkai. It it's like the old Murkai, right, or the other guy.
Yeah, but it's younger.
But it got more stats, huh? I guess as you get older, you lose your powers.
Yep.
Okay. Flat Tusk being replaced by Dark Gaze Elder. And then we also have Champion of Ashraj, I believe, getting replaced by Bristleback Knight. That one I think is the weirdest one because they're replacing a 4 with a 5.
For
Uh,
sure. And because the 5 they replaced it with isn't really fitting with anything.
I think that this is going to make Crowbars really good again, actually, because it gives Crowbars like 2 Divine Shields a piece, and then this one can 3 for 1 as well. So I actually think it is pretty important that they're re-adding that particular unit, because I mean I remember playing with it a lot, and it really did do a lot of work, especially if you got it early. It could carry you, kind of the way that Little Crush can carry. This one can also carry early on. It maybe falls off a little bit harder than King Crush if you don't buff it, but with a little bit of buffs, even if you get like +2/+2, or with the Naga buffs that everyone's gonna have, right? This could be like a 12/8, very easily, right? And that can easily 3 for 1 on a board in the early game. So I do think that is a pretty relevant change. I'm actually more surprised that they're removing Champion of Yasharaj. I don't really know why that one's getting murdered. Like, the card was playable, the card wasn't bad. I'm also surprised that Gem Splitter is not being chased. Like, that seems like a big oversight. Like,
Yeah, with the way they're replacing Flat Tusk,
yeah.
probably because they don't want people to have like gems as spells as much, right? And then you still keep Gem Splitter in, which can give you a handful of gems every turn. So
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
interesting.
Like they're like, oh, Flat Tusk is gonna be a huge problem with Nagas because you get so many gems, and then they're like, Gem Splitter though is fine. Like, everyone's
Yeah.
playing Gem Splitter. Like, that's really where people play get their gems from, if they're really focusing on gems, and you really leave that untouched. It seems like a huge oversight, right? Like, so often we just say Gem Splitter is better than the Flat Tusk in a lot of compositions, and it's a lot easier to get Divine Shields too, because Nagas are going to be in every game. You have that Naga that can give Divine Shields, so it's going to be a lot easier to just be like, oh yeah, I can get a gem. If I keep this card, I can get a gem. I can get Divine Shield every turn. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm a bit worried about that one. And then they
I
also
do want to complain about Bristleback Knight though,
okay.
because in my experience with that card, it is very often like it attacks, and then on its second attack, there's like 2 minions it can hit where it doesn't get where it dies, it doesn't get its divine shield back, and if it hits anything else, it does.
Mhm.
And it's effectively like a flip, whether you get an entire extra big divine shield minion on your board versus it does nothing anymore. Um,
There's so many cards that are like that though. To be
Yeah,
fair.
but like the more you add, the more problematic it is, right? Where you
Uh,
can't really affect your combat as much when it is just gonna come down to does this hit the right card or not, right?
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna be complaining about Mantic Queen as well. Mantic Queen,
Yep,
there's a
for
whole
sure.
rule where, oh, you don't get your Divine Shield,
Yep.
you lose your hit. You're gonna be complaining about like all the cards. You're gonna be like, oh, Leroy, right? If Leroy gets sniped by this stupid minion, oh, it dies. Or if
Yeah.
if it gets cleaved, the cleaved unit died already, and then Leroy's like, yeah, I'll be part of that. Yeah, so there's always been minions that are flips, and they like adding them for some reason. I mean,
Yeah.
and they'll
I mean, they did remove the Baron's blacksmith pretty quickly, so
yeah. Is there
yeah.
cards you're sad that didn't get removed? I have a couple, and you probably have a
Oh yeah,
couple.
Pyro Spawn.
Yeah,
And
I
then
think
Pyro
that's
Spawn again,
that's the number one. I
for
think
sure.
first that didn't get touched, right? Like, immediately when it came out, I think a lot of people understood. At least a lot of the other people understood. Oh, this is gonna be a problem.
Yeah.
And Yeah, I mean, they still don't care about how strong it is, and
Hmm.
how impactful it is for games. Another one, I just
I
don't like Macro as well.
I also don't like Mech, but I also don't like Flexo, which is,
Deflecto?
slightly hypocritical. Yeah, Deflecto. I've been playing
Huh.
Taunted Deflectos in every like if I can get my hands on them, then in a lobby without dragons, Taunted Deflectos are relatively easy to buff, and they just do a lot of stuff basically, right? Like you're competing with buddy high rolls, and you can't because they're buddy high rolls. But Taunted Deflectos save so much health for me anyway, and I feel like once buddies are out, you're barely gonna have dragons in your lobby, right? You're gonna have them 50% of the time. You taunt your deflectors, you get resets on them. Like there's Leroy, right?
Mhm.
And that's it, basically.
There's Leroy, but I also think a really good counter that they added is the ability to give Wind Fury on anything, right? Like where
That's
you
true.
can go twice. Like if you know they're playing Taunted Deflecto or Mecro, you can attack twice with your thing and snipe your Deflecto. So that might give you an answer if you know exactly they're playing this comp and you
Yeah,
don't get
you
like
do
one
have to
shot.
find the
A
thing,
four
and
drop,
you
yeah.
can't hold. Yeah, and you can't hold the spell for it. You have to hold the minion for it if you want
Yeah.
to buy it earlier.
Yeah. So there is some counterplay.
Some, yeah.
Yeah. So it's not hopeless, but I do see where Taunted Deflectors can be a really big problem.
And I mean, it's basically the same, or it's very similar to Meckrel. The only difference is Meckrel's tier 5, right?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. It's extremely similar. So we're really gonna have to see. And then we haven't talked about um the four drop, the Reef Explorer, discover a minion from a minion type you don't control. This one I think of from what I've seen, people have very widely different opinions on how good or bad this card's gonna be. You have any thoughts particularly on how on what you think about it?
Um, it's very hard for me to not compare this to Primal Fin in my mind. Like,
Okay.
I look at this and it's like, the effect feels very similar to Primal Fin, but it's obviously so much worse. But then you remember that Primal Fin is like a broken card. That's like Primal Fin is probably one of the biggest reasons why Murlocs are so problematic, right?
Yeah.
So then I have to like keep my mind separate from that, and it's kind of hard. But I do think if you like level to 4 decently quickly, you don't have a full board yet. This is a pretty good chance to just give you a bigger minion on board. But I think it's very unlikely to actually give you like stuff you care about, right? It fills the board out. It doesn't do much more beyond that.
Yeah.
Unless you have Bran, right? But
Yeah,
yeah,
I'm of the opinion that this card, uh, no brand is whatever. With a brand is extremely broken. Maybe some of the
yeah.
strongest in the game. Just because like the the economy you can get from this on accident is just so high. Especially since you get to discover them, and you have three chances to hit economy, and especially like if pirates are in, you can hit the three gold. If elementals are in, there's so many elementals that give you economy. Dragons are in, you can get mirrors on. So with brand, I think there's a really high chance for this thing to just be extreme gold generation. But it kind of
With
reminds me of friend of a friend in that
yeah,
when you have friend and no brand, it was like it's a card, but you
it's
don't.
it's also not just gold generation. If you have a Bran, this can very easily give you triple amalgams. I think. Like if you're playing Menagerie with Bran,
I
it's
don't think you can get amalgam.
you
Or
can. You can.
oh,
Like
can
amalgam is a minion of a type that you don't control
you
yet,
don't
right?
control? I guess that's
Yeah.
true,
Like
huh?
it's a totem. You never have a totem. So if you have 3 minion types, right? Already, then you're guaranteed to see an amalgam every time. Because there's only 5 minion types per game. Outside of like, the beast on Quillbores if you're on tier 5 or whatever.
Hmm.
So it's pretty easy to pick this up and discover triple amalgams if you have Bran, I think.
Huh. I guess that's true, huh? So this could be a triple, and this could be even better than I'm thinking as well, because it might be
Mhm.
a way to just like force triples as well.
Yeah.
You can be offered to the same tribe. Okay, so if
Oh,
it
that is
so,
weird.
so
Okay.
you need all five to be active
All right.
then. Um, but that's not like extremely hard, right? If you
No,
have an
that's not
amalgam,
that hard. No.
the amalgam should count for one. So if you have an amalgam and four other things, and then brand and then this card, it would just give you
Yeah,
two.
you give the triple of the amalgam, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that might be some way to like just start like farming fives and sixes if you get this early
Yep.
and you know what you're doing. So I'm pretty scared about this card with a brand interaction. I just think like it can give you triples, it can give you so much economy, and it can also like give you direction. I guess if you're like just playing this randomly and be like, I hope I find something.
Yeah.
Like maybe you discover a primal fin and you have an amalgam and you're like, okay,
It's like without Bran, it's kind of okay, and with Bran, I'm very scared. I think that's a fair assumption. So it depends on how likely you are to be picking up Bran, especially with
I
the
mean,
removal of the
I'm
Magadon.
very likely to be picking up Brand on
Yeah, I
this.
mean, I am too.
I don't know about you, but I'm a Brand,
Yeah.
Brand enjoyer here. So yeah,
Yeah, but it's mostly what I'm thinking of is like tripling into Bran, right? If you triple into Bran now, it's like okay, you can probably get away with it because it's so Malgadon focused, right? But in previous metas, pre-buddies, you very often couldn't get away with picking a Bran off your first triple into tier 5, right? And if you
yeah,
can't do that, then this card is a lot less scary because you have to be on 5, find the Bran with the board already, and then it still becomes scary. You know,
yeah.
it has some hurdles.
It's a bit of work. That is true. I'm just hoping that I can get away with it, but I guess yeah, we will have to see um if we can or not. And I just think there is very high potential for it to be problematic. So that's kind of my current thoughts on the card. Um, as well, if we ignore that, I do think there's a lot of like cool additions. Manta Queen instead of Amalgam, I'm kind of okay with. It gives you, it's like a Maexna, um, that sometimes gets reborn. That's kind of how I look at it. So it's not
It's
really something you want to
inconsistent.
keep. And I don't know if people will be winning games with this card, if that makes sense, right? Like there's a world where people are like run like double Mantis Queen, double Leroy, and like a big minion and a selfless or something like that, and like say that's good enough. But that'd
I
be
mean,
such.
Selfless is awkward, right?
Yeah, yeah. I
Because
mean,
if
you'd put
Selfless lands
Leroy
on
first. Yeah,
Leroy,
you put Leroy first and second, and then Selfless is
mhm.
like third, or something. But yeah, I see what you're saying. Like it would be pretty interesting. So I'm just wondering if this is gonna be like good enough that people will win lobbies with this on their board, or if it's just gonna be like early game tempo and then like people sell it off. So that's kind of my
I'm mostly wondering if people care to play this if they're not already playing Menagerie. Because if you're playing Menagerie, it gets shield like
all
most
the
of the
time.
time.
Yeah,
Not all of the time, but most of the time, right?
according to my
So
luck,
then,
every time I'm never I'm never
I
not
mean, with
getting
my
shit.
luck, I'm getting it every time until I actually need it, and then it doesn't. But it's then it just gets taunt and it gets hit into with a divine shield immediately. Um, but it's very much so. If people can play it outside of Menagerie, right, and then not
Yeah,
necessarily care about the effect, then it gets scary. If you
yeah.
can only play it in Menagerie, probably not that big a deal, right?
Lich King's pretty happy with cards like this, right? You'll get the poison back. Same thing with Leroy. If
Yeah.
you're Lich King, you can
Oh
just
yeah.
hero power at Leroy. Get two of them. That seems maybe
Taunted,
useful.
taunted Leroy reborn with a golden Khadgar, and some extra minion in the back.
Ooh, ooh, that's very interesting.
Yeah.
Why didn't they remove Khadgar? That's another good. Like, what is its
Because I
point?
want to taunt and reborn a Leroy. That's why they didn't.
Okay. It just feels like it's a card that doesn't really serve like too much of a purpose, except for like Eliza, not Eliza Poison Pirate Scam, and maybe like
Yeah.
you're playing
Greybow.
Greybow. Yeah, that's exactly the hero I was thinking. But it is pretty interesting of
Yeah.
a unit to be.
So
Well,
I guess speaking of Leroy, Coiler summons it. I made the I
oh,
made Yeah, I made the meme on
I
Twitter where
saw
it's
that
like we
meme.
used yeah,
I
we
saw
used to
that
get
meme. Yeah.
Coiler summoning Sneed summoning my X-Nat like once in a blue moon, and that was insane.
Yeah.
And now it can just directly summon Leroy.
That is pretty crazy, actually, huh?
Yeah.
Uh,
And you can still give it Reborn. Or you can still give the Coiler Reborn.
so gas cars are gonna be quite a bit better, huh? Just because before there was like if opponent had big minions, your gas color had no chance to kill it. Now you're
Yeah.
gonna lose a game because they pull out a Leroy, and then you just like get killed, and you're gonna be mad. I'm
And
gonna
you're
be
sad.
mad. Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh. And it's in every game.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's always there.
So
Though I guess Coiler is only in half of
yeah, but it like sometimes there's an argument to be made like, oh, is Corla or Mamba better? And I thought it was like kind of arguable. Like, oh, there are some situations where I would
I
prefer.
mean, if you have a Mama Bear, then Coiler has been better. And if you don't have a Mama Bear, then Mama was always better. But now, yeah.
Yeah.
It's,
Oh,
Hello.
hey, Sleepy.
hello.
Hey, I had so much to say, and I was like in chat, but now I was like eating, so it's like can't really like
You can't.
say things.
You can join while you're eating. I actually did eat first before I started. To be fair. So.
Yeah, but no, like I don't know. It's like awkward. I'm like saying something. I'm like, I don't know.
Well,
I
you're
just
done
rather not.
eating. Any thoughts?
Yeah, I'm done eating. Let's go. I mean, I don't know how. I don't really want to go too much back into the buddy meter. I'm
No,
just very
go
happy
back
that
in
it's.
there. No. Feel free.
Okay. Like the way I feel with that is like that was the biggest problem by far was the meter.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like everything else, like overpowered buddies, I feel like is something that you can fix with normal balance changes. And but like it's like if they're gonna keep that system or bring it back, it needs to change like substantially. I don't think that removing it entirely and making you get it on a consistent turn is the answer because just going 4 and 4 and then getting a buddy seems kind of dumb.
Yeah.
Especially for something like Omu. But just making it so that it's not a system of I got a bad matchup, so now my game plan doesn't work.
Yeah, I think the most complaint was with the Divine Shield nonsense, where if your best minion went into their Divine Shield, you get less than one damage in buddy meter progression.
I think it's one. I think it's just one.
Yeah, it's the equivalent of dealing 1 damage.
It's not less than one, but it is one.
I have seen. No, I think I've seen it been worse than 1 damage. Actually, it's not.
It can be worse than 1%. Because if you deal 1 damage, it doesn't always give you a percent. It might be that.
That might have just been like a decimal point rounding type of thing that you saw, but yeah, like definitely that, but also just the case of I know that I need to charge my buddy meter, and the best way to do that is to make one big unit and have that hit multiple things.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then if your opponent has a bigger unit and you get a bad hit, and you can actually get top 8 because of that, right? Like
I can specifically remember a number of games where my one hit was the reason I lost. Like that.
Yeah,
like on like turn 4 or turn 3.
Yeah,
even, right.
Yeah.
Which is just like I would say that is something that cannot come back. Like literally, if I knew that wasn't going, like the only hope was like we know that the buddies are temporary.
Mhm.
If we didn't know that they were temporary and that was happening, they weren't doing anything about it, I think there would have been a lot more people just leaving entirely.
I mean, I'm playing Arena, so.
Yeah, but I mean, you're like playing Arena until Nagas come out. You're not like
Yeah, exactly. And I wouldn't
didn't,
be
like,
coming
fully-
back if Nagas didn't come out. Exactly.
right. Like
Yeah.
I think there would have been more people maybe like actively like trying to permanently switch games if that was not known.
True.
Someone
Which I
saying
guess
that.
begs the question, is there a way to reintroduce buddies if they want to do that without a buddy meter-ish thing, right? But also that isn't on guaranteed turns?
I think the buddy meter is okay. You could just make it more lenient. You could remove
Yeah.
the Divine Shield requirement, like just it's the same progression whether you hit a Divine Shield or not, and you could just give like a rounding error. So like let's say you're like 98, it'll round you to 100 or something instead of where like the most frustrating thing is when you go and you're 99 and you're just like, well, I lost the game because of this, right? Where it'll be a little bit more lenient, so it'll like progress you. Like if you get to 96, it'll like round up to 100 or something. So it'll make it a lot more easier. People might start going like 3-on-3 because it'll be more lenient, but I think that's fine. Like 3-on-3 is not a bad way to play a lot of heroes. So
Yeah,
I
I
wouldn't mind
think
that.
the discouraging, if they want to say we don't want people going 4-on-4, I can live with that because I think 4-on-4 can be a very toxic way to play the game and very toxic to face.
Yeah.
But like I think 3-on-3 being viable, yeah, I'd like 3-on-3 to be viable because if you go 2-on-2 and get a bad shot and then you can't go 3-on-3, but you have to, it just feels really bad.
Game can be over from there, and it shouldn't be the case where you can lose turn 3. Like what? But a lot of
Yeah.
times you can if your shops are just awful. You can't level. You can't do anything. So I wouldn't mind just more leniency with the meter because it was frustrating to lose a game because of battle RNG. Because I mean, battle RNG can already lose you the game, but then when you're like, oh, it's turn 4 and I've lost, like that's a bit frustrating. So
Yeah, like I thought when it was getting revealed that the buddy meter was going to be basically like, yeah, you just need to like have minions on your board and not go 3-on-3. And if that's how it was basically, like if it's like, okay, you go 3-on-3, you might get it a turn later, I can definitely live with that, but when it's like you can play the absolute strongest you can and still not get it on time, I think is not okay.
yeah, it's a bit rough. So I do like bringing back the discussion of buddy meter because I think that's one of the more problematic pieces of the buddies, even regardless of like hero balance and buddy balance. Like the meter itself is more troll than anything
Yeah.
else.
But I mean also if you think about it, like just significantly nerfing the power level of buddies would also significantly reduce the frustration because if you're somebody like
Yeah,
Hook, Tusk, or Panda and you don't get your buddy on time, you're not like, oh, woe is me, right? You're just kind of like, oh, I kind of maybe I would have had an extra option this turn to discover from, but like I don't really care. Right? My game isn't over. My game isn't ruined. But if you're somebody like Tess or Elise and you don't get your buddy on time, your game can absolutely be over.
yeah. There was a comment in the comments I forgot to talk about. The relative power of buddies against shops is what made meter too impactful. If buddies were weaker, meter would be less frustrating. That is true, right? If
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
that is a good point. I don't know how they would like re-nerf everybody, right? Like that sounds like so much work. So I don't know if they would do that, but it's something to keep in mind. If buddies were less impactful, it would also make things more balanced. It's hard to
You
do.
could also start off with not giving buddies to people as early, right?
I'll make it later.
If the earliest you get your buddy is at the start of turn 7 instead of the start of turn 5, that already makes a huge difference in the
True.
impact that early matchups and early combat has.
But it could also make buddies have no impact. That's the fear where like buddies don't even matter. It's just like who cares
I
about
mean,
it?
that is it's my personal opinion, of course, but I think it's better if they have no impact than if they have a negative impact, right? Because if they have no impact, I can still play the game regularly and have fun with the regular game.
They're like a
whereas if
cosmetic
they
change.
actively
Most
yeah,
things
sure.
like most things that are in this game that are healthy aren't impactful every game.
Yeah.
Basically everything, right? Something that's impactful every game, I think you can right. You can basically unilaterally say that something that's impactful every game is overpowered.
Yeah. In a game where you get stuff at random, right? If you don't get it at random because you get it guaranteed and it's always impactful, that's a problem. Or if you don't get it every turn or don't get it every time, but it's still impactful, which basically turns into you have to find it or you lose. That's also unhealthy.
Friend of a friend. Yeah, I see where you're coming from. There's a lot of cards that are very problematic because if you don't get them, you're very disadvantaged. So it kind of forces you to play and force that particular strategy. And if it's in every single game, the game becomes one dimensional. And you really saw it in front of a friend meta, where it was like, yeah, pyro spawns, yeah, things like that. And, it is a good point that you're making there.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, Power Spawn is like so impactful that you don't even you like literally say, I'm not gonna play this comp based on the fact that this is in the game.
Yeah, but
it's not just you have a losing matchup. It's you have a matchup where you die if you face it. If someone has pyro spawn, right? Like it's
Yeah.
that level of problematic.
Yeah, it's insta die, right? Versus like,
Yeah.
I'm unfavored here, but it's okay because I'm still gonna do well against everybody else.
Yeah.
But
or
it's
you
like
lose it, but you take a small amount, and
I'm unfavored against this comp. This is the best comp in the game that everybody's aiming for, and I will die if I face it.
Yeah. Like when the late game is like, oh, I just need to roll it down for a Prester. There's nothing else matters here. It's just like, yeah, well, did I roll it or not? That seems really weird. Like there's like no other alternative options for you besides just roll it down and hope you hit this 4-drop. Seems a bit weird that it's that impactful, but yeah.
It might. I feel like things are going to turn into something similar where in Dragon lobbies, it's going to be so important to get an amalgam going because of pyro spawn.
Yeah, it may be right. I can see it right because you can easily get Divine Shield. You can even get the Wind Fury now too on your amalgam or
Yeah.
Agam. Yeah, and then you just like go first and Wind Fury kill two units before they attack, and then you win that lobby. So I could definitely see it. It's gonna require more work though, so you might not see it as much, and that might be.
Yeah, but I mean but what I'm saying is like, the person who gets it while they're on 3 doesn't really take a huge loss to build it versus like if you don't find it on 3 and then you just can't build it up in time and then you just lose to the person who did.
Yeah, Nightmare Amalgam is its own discussion, I think.
That's the problem that Nightmare Amalgam had in its original state.
Yeah, but I think what I'm saying is I don't know if that's going to be a massive issue in non-Dragon lobbies. I don't think it is. I think it's only going to be in Dragon lobbies that it's a big problem.
Yeah, just because of Prester.
Yeah.
It should be a little bit better, without dongs. Like, not everyone should be able to do it where, like, and especially without buddies and without dongs, not everyone should be able to do it, but it might just be the high roll if you get there and you can set it up that you always win. But there's always been comps like that where if you can set it up, you pretty much always win. Usually they require the Magadons, but we'll see if Nightmare is a good enough replacement to still create those type of situations, right? Like the thing we have to understand is we have less time to get that strong since buddies aren't in and Magadon isn't in, so it might not be feasible unless you're playing like Gallerix or something to just like create that type of situation nowadays. But we have to see, right, how good people can do it or how quickly they can do it, especially with the new cards. It's hard to understand how everything will interact, right? Maybe with the reef card, you can just generate amalgadons so easily that it's pretty constant every game that you'll be able to get this amalgadon situation. But we just don't know.
Hey guys.
Hey Soren.
Hello.
By the way, I want to add one broken card that you're not talking about.
Sure, go for it.
Leroy.
We've talked about Leroy a little bit.
Broken beyond belief.
What's your thoughts on it?
It's broken. It's basically poison, amalgam, pyrospon all in one card. It doesn't make sense.
I do think
it
it's
doesn't
pretty
have
good.
shield, but that's it. Like I think there is no reason not to play this card in your comp. This is gonna make Selfless useless, and it's gonna be the best finisher in the game. It's even stronger than the 6-drop. It doesn't make sense.
I mean,
it's too broken. It's too strong.
I mean, it can't 2-for-1 is the thing.
Yeah, it can't value trade. You can't buff it, and it's just a 1 card. You can put 2 of them in, but then you still have 5 minion slots you need to do something with. Because if you kill 2 of your opponent's minions, that's great. But then they still have 5.
I'm not saying it's a Magadon.
Right?
I'm saying it's the best card to end on in the game. And that's gonna change the way the game is played. Like, you can't have big taunts. You can't open with Divine Shield, because if they taunt this, your Divine Shield is dead, and you lost the fight, and you lost the game. This card is going to change everything, positioning-wise, and how you build your comps and how you think about the late game. It's going to warp the whole game. It's too strong.
I potentially agree with you. I just
I don't think those things necessarily follow from each other, right? You can change how you play things. Like, you can change how you position because Cleave exists, but that doesn't mean Cleave is broken beyond belief, right?
Cleave is
Cleave, you need to
broken.
invest into it.
I do
You need
think
to
Cleave is
invest
broken
into
beyond
Cleave.
belief, though.
Yeah, and also you need to invest into the Cleave. This is just a 2 gold investment. That's
Yeah.
it.
That is a good point.
Plus the Argus that you have to find, right?
No, you can just put it
If you want
first.
to count it, you can also put it first.
I mean, if you don't find the Argus, then there's not the threat of, oh, you can't lead with your big Divine Shield minion, right?
Well, but you don't
I
know if your
mean,
opponent found
you
the
don't
Argus,
know.
right?
Yeah, you
Even
don't
in a top
know.
2 situation where you know what their board is, you don't know if they taunted it or not, if they found it. I mean,
Yeah,
like, I think a lot of the things, though, that you're talking about are going to be, like, interesting decisions, right?
Yeah.
And, like, a lot of those things, it's like, you're talking about all the ways where you can counterplay Leroy, and to me, if you can counterplay it by positioning well, that doesn't scream broken. Like,
Yeah,
I'm not saying
exactly.
it's
That's
not.
what I'm thinking.
Like, I'm not saying
I
it's
don't
not
think
broken,
it's broken
but
because of that, yeah.
I
I'm
think
saying
that
the card is gonna change the way the end game is played right now.
That's
That's
fine,
why I
though.
find
with
it
that.
so
That's
strong.
fine.
Why isn't that?
Yeah, I
That's
don't
not a
know if it's
problem.
bad or good. I'm just saying the card is that strong that it's gonna
Oh,
switch the game by itself.
I mean, I think a lot of cards do that, though. Like, it's not.
Yeah, like every
The
strong
existence
endgame
of
utility does
giving
that.
minions Wind Fury or Shield at a whim because of the spells that you can get, right?
Yeah.
That changes it too.
Yeah, like the Naga spellcraft cards, like give a minion Divine Shield, like that's crazy. Give a minion Wind Fury. It's not as crazy, but it can be very impactful to be like, oh yeah, I just Divine Shield Wind Fury my Cleave, like oh, here you go, out of nowhere. Like that seems a bit broken to me, right? And you like if you know there's a Leroy, okay, I won't put it first, I'll put it like third or something, right? But it's still a Divine Shield Wind Fury. That can just solo the board. So there's still other units that have that kind of effect besides Leroy, and they are removing Spore too. So it's not like okay, you can now just run Spore, Leroy, Mantis Queen. Everything has poison, and I don't need to do anything else. But yeah,
I think Leroy fundamentally, one of the main things it does is it is going to strongly disincentivize you from over-investing into one unit. And I think that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. But the thing
right,
is
like-
that if you don't high roll a direction, that's usually what you have to do.
Yeah, I am a bit worried.
That's currently what you have to do,
Yeah.
right? That's not necessarily what you will have to do once buddies are out.
I mean, it's always been the case. Let's be honest. You
no,
don't have a
because-
direction. You build into one unit and then you poison pivot. That's the game. If you
No,
don't
it
have
was,
direction,
it
you
was
don't
more
have
often
direction, right?
you jam a menagerie of crap on your board that's, decently statted, and then, either go for poison or survive long enough that you're ready to die and go to your next game, right? It's not always just
Yeah, I
put
guess.
one big it's not always been just put one big thing on your board. If we think of shaker comps with Quill Wars, roughly
Yeah,
near
but
the
that's like
release of Quill
direction,
Wars.
right? I'm talking like you don't get any kind of direction until turn 10. Like, what are you supposed to do?
You're supposed
You
to die.
die,
If you
yeah.
can't get any direction until turn 10, I don't think you have a right to complain that you then lose the game.
Yeah, you're dead. It's fine. Like just move on.
And like if you legitimately, like even if you make your decision and it's turn 10 you still don't have direction, then I would consider that an outlier and just a very unlucky game. That doesn't necessarily mean that, like you should have had an out, right? If the game literally gives you nothing and you lose when there's a lot of things it could have given you, that's just bad luck, right?
Yeah, I don't win every game, so it's like there are some games where I try and I'd lose, right? So it just happens, and it's fine. I am the only thing I'm worried about, I'm worried about a lot of things, but like regarding the Leroy card, I'm just worried if you can just create board states that can compete with late game boards just by running like these random 1-for-1 units. You know, you just run Mantis Queen, you run a Leroy, you run like one big unit and like something else, and like that's good enough to like win a lobby where you don't have to put in that much effort. That's my fear.
I think
You rerun a Coiler, it gives you Leroy.
Yeah, that kind of stuff.
I think Mithrax is a problem.
I don't know. I feel like removing Spore and adding Leroy should mitigate that, because you can no longer do like Golden Trickster or Golden Selfless plus full poison, because this doesn't work with them.
Yeah.
So I think they should have addressed that issue in theory.
Yeah, if Spore was still in, I would be more worried. But also, now that Murlocs are going to be in basically half the lobbies, there's too much of a benefit of just like making huge stats, and like there's not really a big counterplay unless you get lucky with the Leroy. I don't know if Mantis Queen is going to be super prominent because people like to be more proactive with their units, especially the ones that don't scale easily. So I don't know how often people are just gonna be like, oh, they have a big unit, I'm just gonna hold this Mantis Queen or play it. And I just feel like there's gonna be a lot of cases where like a curator will have like 3 Amalgadons and they're all huge, and then it's like, well, I have no answer, except if I buy this one card. And then everyone's just gonna be like, well, why wait? I'll just buy the card early, and then everyone's just running Leroy's because there's no answer to big stats if the opponents have it. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't see a reason not to buy and play Leroy, honestly, in any comp.
I mean, sometimes you're just not going to have space.
Maybe not in Death Rattle's comps, but...
I run Macaw and Leroy.
Yeah,
wait. Will Macaw... If Macaw triggers Leroy? No?
Nothing
Okay.
happens.
Okay. Damn. Because then you could say, oh, if something kills the Macaw, then it gets the Leroy, destroy the minion that kills this buff.
No, it destroys the minion that kills the Leroy.
Yeah.
Boo.
Leroy is cool with tanks and jugglers and pyrospawns, though. It kills
Less
them.
with tank, but definitely with juggler Pyrospawn.
Yeah,
I'm a big fan of that,
this.
actually. I'm actually a really big fan of there being like a direct counter to Pyrospawn, right? Like a taunted Leroy against Pyrospawn, you just take out the Pyrospawn. Great. Like, we have actual counterplay to that card now.
Yeah, that's actually a good point.
It does still require them to hit exactly the Leroy.
You're
If
taunting
you have
it.
any other
You're
taunt divine
taunting it.
shields. No, but you have taunt divine shields that you don't want to get ruined by Pyrospawn, right? Like, that's the big problem. If you have taunt divine shields, your opponent
No
has
one's
Dragons
playing
plus Pyrospawn,
Amalgadon.
you
It's
lose.
fine. It's fine. Like
I mean, there's Amalgam, there is taunted Flectos.
Yeah,
And
but
if you
that's the
add
thing.
in
All
I think
taunted
taunted
Leroy-
deflectors aren't going to be a thing. I think they're just not.
Yeah, all these taunt things can't be a thing because Leroy exists. You can't invest into these things. You're just gonna get Leroy and die. It's Pyrospawn in every lobby. That's what it is.
Not if Nadina goes first. Yeah, that's the one fear if you're taunting this and then Nadina hits this and then you're just like, oh, that sucked. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So, how do you counterplay that?
I mean, if you get a bad hit, if you have like 3 taunts, right, and they have opening Nadina, then you have like only a 1 in 3. Like, okay, because also like Pyrospawn, you get through the taunts and then you can kill their divine shields that aren't taunted even, right? So you might have non-shielded taunts, but you can protect them by killing the Pyrospawn not being able to get to them.
You have 2 taunted Leroy. It's genius.
Yeah, I mean, actually, yeah, right. Like double taunted Leroy is probably going to be a thing.
Yeah, it probably will be.
I mean, that's not that crazy, right? You have 2 Leroys, because why wouldn't you have 2 Leroys and you find 1 Argus, you taunt both of them?
Is this just gonna be the late game card in every comp? Oh my god, this is what
Yes.
Soren is saying. You're rolling for this. It's like in every game, and everyone's just running 2 of these because it. Well, how many is gonna be in the pool? There's like 10.
9.
9.
There's 9.
Yeah, so
That's not a lot.
yeah, that's not that much. So some people will
Like,
get
even
these.
with
So
four,
pretty
like,
much
you
you have to
don't
buy
go
these
find
as soon
them.
as you see them.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's annoying. All right. Sounds
And
fun.
honestly, like I wouldn't have a problem if they switched this with Mantis and made Mantis like game +3/+3 or +2/2 or whatever. This is stronger than Mantis.
Probably is, yeah. Yeah, actually, I can see that switching it with Mantis, and yeah, I
Yeah,
could
maybe. One thing that I really do like though is I don't know if you guys saw this before, but it's like with Mantis, like
can
you
taunt it,
can't
right?
rely, like you can taunt it, but then if you hard taunt your Mantis and your opponent knows that, then they can open Leroy.
Yeah.
But the other thing with Mantis is like it can taunt itself. So like the thing with because I feel like Mantis is more of like the Spore counterpart, right? And like what I'm thinking of is like Macaw Trickster crap. And now like Mantis can taunt itself, and you might not be able to reliably like do that.
Oh, you're saying it screws over Trickster comps.
Yeah, like I'm saying it's like it's worse in a Trickster comp sometimes even than Spore, because like even though it can get Divine Shield, it can get taunt.
Yeah.
And just die. And I am all for that because I hate Trickster
Yeah.
comps so much.
Exactly.
Damn, you got some
We don't
Trickster
condone
haters, huh?
Trickster.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I mean it's so toxic, man. It's so toxic.
That's fair. I usually beat them, so I don't care. That's
Like
fine.
in Murloc lobbies, it's like if you're running Trickster in a Murloc lobby, and yeah, you can have a lot of poisons, but then everybody else can have poison too, so it's not a huge problem.
Right. Yeah, it is a semi-toxic card, and it should be better without buddy scaling, but
Yeah, that's definitely true. But I still hate it.
yeah,
I think I was getting mad about this card even before buddies came out, so
the Trickster.
yeah, I was raging at Trickster before buddies.
I do want to talk about
fine.
I do want to talk about Dark Gaze Elder. I think
Oh
this
my
card
God.
is going to be secret OP. Well, maybe not after this. But like,
I don't. I feel like it wasn't a secret. I was like looking at this. I'm like, what?
Yeah, like this is why I think I might just be like a Cobra player instead of a Naga player day one. I'm just like, why are we playing Nagas? Just play double Dark Gaze. I won the game every time. And like another thing is like we have to understand like buddy scaling isn't the thing, right? So you're just looking at this from like a base standpoint, and the stats it gets you, it's so much, and it synergizes with so many cards. It synergizes with Duo so well, and you have Nightback, so you can get Divine Shields on your Quobor, so it's not even bad. And we still have the Agam, we have the Pumbaa, so you can get +8/+8 a turn.
Pumbaa is insane.
Yeah, there's so much you can do. Like you just grab this and you're like, well, I've won, and you can get 2 of them, and you can get Agam. You can even run like double Agam, like that's even fine. And a bunch of things, and it's just
run
like
double Agam.
Yeah,
and also like the main thing that I was thinking about. You're thinking about like the more normal. I'm just thinking about the fact that you don't actually have to play the blood gems anymore.
Yeah. I know, right? The boomers,
right? But not even the boomers. Like the person with 4 hoggers,
right?
Right. So like you can go infinite. Like before, Flat Tusk. Like you could have gone Flat Tusk Agam with like 4 hoggers, but it was just slower.
Yeah.
Right. But now it probably won't be. I'm assuming.
Although you do miss out on the Peggy synergy, which is slightly sad.
You miss out on the Peggy synergy, but
you get it back in spades.
Yeah. Like sometimes I would be infinite, but I would say I'd rather do this Agam stuff and build cleaves, because then I have big cleaves and I know that like there's poisons. And now you're just like that's going to be the best thing to do.
Yeah.
Like this is going to be the best thing to do, right? Get hoggers, get this, get Agam, get cleaves, right?
Yeah. It's
not that easy, but it's strong.
Yeah, without buddies, it won't be as easy.
I'm saying this is the best thing to do, like over like the entirely best thing to do in the game. Not saying it's like
in non-Murlocs
that you're gonna. No, even in Murlocs, because you're gonna build cleaves.
Yeah.
Like you're gonna have the APM scaling on cleaves.
I guess that's true, right? If you have 100 cleaves, who cares which size your Murlocs are? Yeah,
And
so
also with this thing, the Necrolite Stonks go up so
Oh
much.
my God.
You get so many gems. You can literally make 200 cleaves if you
that's
get it early
true.
enough.
Yeah, Necrolite's gonna be broken as well with this because you're getting the gems on everything, and then you like if you get +20, that's on 4. Well, most likely you have like 3 or so, but like you only need 2. So you can just like double your value on a cleave or divine. That's really important. So I just think this card is gonna get nerfed. Like I didn't understand.
The good thing is though, there's like multiple buttons you can press on this, right? You can
Yeah,
increase the
yeah,
gold, you can
yeah.
decrease the number of boards. So I feel like it's like very nerfable without like killing it.
Yeah, it's getting nerfed.
But I do just want, slightly off topic, I just want to remind everybody that Galliwix has armor.
Oh, I haven't looked at the armor. Really? Wow.
Yeah.
I haven't looked at the armor yet, but damn, that's
And they put
Yeah.
the new 4-drop in the game, so Galliwix can print money for free.
In every
Can use
lobby.
their- Yeah, in
Doesn't need a
every lobby.
Murloc for the new Primal Fin.
You just play it. And sometimes you get Caligos, and then you go dragons.
Yeah, I mean, you have to be on tier 6 for that, so it's a little bit
Yeah.
less guaranteed, but it is. I do think with Brand or if you have Econ, if you have Gallia, like this card's gonna be nuts. Also, I don't like. I mean, we haven't talked about the Nagas at all, right? But I do think some of the Nagas are pretty, weird as well. It should be changed. The last card I guess we haven't talked about is really the Young Murkai. We've only talked about it a little bit, but at first I wasn't like too sure about it. But I do think there's a lot of decent Battlecry Murlocs that you can just play with.
Yeah.
It
And now like currently you're like, well, I don't ever like have those on my board, but it's like this card doesn't exist, so like of course you had no reason to keep them.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
like with Murlocs, like any Murloc is a Murloc, and you have Sephin, assuming, right? And then you can just keep it around. Like it doesn't really matter what your Murlocs are as long as one of them is Sephin.
Already.
Right.
Disgusting.
But it's like, imagine you just like triple, like people are thinking like, oh, do I really want to keep this on my board? But it's like, if you triple Begurgle into this, like it's immediately, +8/+8 to your board. So like you're gonna put it on you're gonna leave it there.
Right. It triggers the golden effect, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Imagine golden primal fin with a brand. What the fuck is this?
Four Murlocs in your hand every turn.
What the hell?
And now you're not worried about tripling Amalgadon. So then like,
yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't be worried about tripling him out.
Yeah, me
if I
neither.
have golden primal fin with this.
That could be very problematic. I mean, are we gonna have weaker boards at the end even without buddies? Some of the
are you
scaling
getting
here
to
is
these cards is
crazy.
the question, right?
Yeah.
Like obviously
Question is-
these cards are crazy, but you might be not getting there, so we'll see.
Can you stay on 4 and do stuff there that's reasonable enough that, you're gonna get smacked if you level, right? That's the big question.
Well, you also
I
have
mean,
to.
I think if the new Quillbor card, like you triple into it, but let's say you don't have all the Quillbors already, maybe you have one Quillbor. If you face somebody that's playing Tempo on tier 4, you're going to take 15. So there is a risk with
And
that.
then the turn after you're dealing 15, so it's fine, right?
Copium.
Yeah, if you don't die,
Copium.
it's fine. But like with the Murloc,
You always
the
get
Murloc
Agam
is like
instantly.
Yeah.
4 Charlies immediately. The Bagurgle thingy is like 4 Charlies in one card. It doesn't make sense.
Someone has a question. Now that buddies are gone, do you fear that milk meta might come back? No. I think it's
No.
Acolyte.
Acolyte's not on 1.
Yeah. That's the
I
reason.
think Witch is still gonna be a strong card though. Witch was
sure.
strong. even with
Yeah.
the buddy.
But it's not going to be, you can't just like force that strategy,
Yeah, you
I
won't be-
think. Especially with Nagas being like, the Naga 2-drops are going to be really strong. So like
Yeah,
there
but
is a lot of
also-
incentive to go to 2.
Tier 4 has been butchered over time, so who wants to triple into 4 anyway? And there are
Yeah.
so many
I
bad
didn't want to
4s
triple
that,
into
you know,
4s
there
in
is,
milk
like,
meta
there is
either.
Strong Shell, there is
I
Snake,
feel you.
so many bad 4-drops.
Yeah. Rattler, Cold Light Seer, Strong Shell, Kick W. Nice.
Yeah,
butchered
it's a bit rough nowadays for sure. But yeah, I don't think Milk Meta will be back. It's really Acolyte that was facilitating it. Just everyone was able to get some early, and you just stayed on 1, tripled into the 4. If you get the 4 milk, you win. But nowadays it's a lot harder. You don't have the acolyte safety, and you're early staying on 1 has a huge risk. So I don't think you'll see it coming back. Another question: say you have 2 giant swamp strikers on board and the 6-drop triples it at the end of the turn. Does it pull? No, it won't pull the minions off for combat. It'll wait until the beginning of the next turn to pull it back. So you don't have to worry about like having two big Murlocs and then getting it tripled by the Murkai with Primal Fin synergy. So I wouldn't worry about it. Yeah. I think those are like the non-Naga cards and the cards that are being removed and adjusted that we talk about. We can start moving on to the Naga stuff. Just kind of starting to get somewhere, right? The picture I have shows like the tier 1 to tier 3 Nagas, but really, I mean, we can kind of talk about any Naga card that we want to talk about. I have both pictures, and it's pretty free flowing.
These pictures are cool. I like them.
Yeah, I got them off Reddit. As I do, someone did the work for me, so
yeah.
Thank you, Reddit.
Yeah.
But I mean, we can. Do you want us like talk about like the most problematic card at the beginning, or do you want to like start small and be like, oh, this is probably fine, and then move on to like?
I mean, I think I want to talk about the cards that basically affect how you play the things, right? So like Lava Lurker or Stormscale Siren and like the 5-drop and then Athissa, right? Like I think it's not really doesn't make a whole lot of sense to talk about spellcraft as a mechanic without first looking at the spellcraft synergies.
Okay, sure. I mean, you started with Lava Lurker, and I think that card is gonna be like
yeah,
pretty much. This is also gonna be nerfed. I think. I think it's a bit too strong.
I made the comment of
Lava Lurker though. How do you play Nagas?
If you don't have a Lurker.
Yeah, how do you play Nagas without a Lurker? You
I mean,
don't
there's
have
a lot
real
of
payoff.
stuff.
I
There's
made the
multiple
comment of
things.
you go 2-on-2, and either you see a Lava Lurker and you are now playing Nagas for the rest of the game, or you go 3-on-3 and then you go look again.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. But like, if you nerf the Lurker, like, I think without the Lurker, I don't really want to play Naga.
Without the Lurker, do we want to play Naga? So there is Snow Cavalier, but is that good enough? Probably, like, to force Nagas? No.
No. But I mean, you look at these minions, you buy them just because they're like decent stats immediately, right?
If you get like the coin on turn 1 and a Snail Cavalry turn 3 after you level, you play it, you coin, you buy another minion. That's a 5/4, right? On turn 3.
Yeah, sure, but these are all like tempo stuff that you buy and then you find your direction. I'm talking about like,
but it's turn 3.
I'm Naga, right?
It's turn 3. Like, what do you want?
I mean, I'm not happy when I see a tough task. I'm not that kind of player.
In buddy meta, tough task with Divine Shield is pretty good. So I mean, that one.
Yeah, if you put Divine Shield.
So I do. The problem I have with this is you get your direction too early, and that might be my issue with it. Where it's like, oh, I got a Lava Lurker, I know exactly what I'm doing the rest of the game, and then I'm like this. The synergy with Knives are too strong that I'll just force this, and that's a bit problematic because like normally you don't get direction this early. I think tier 3s is usually where you can start seeing direction if you like roll double deflecto, if you roll like
single gem splitter.
Yeah, gem splitter or something like that. That's where you start seeing direction where you're like, oh, I knew I can force things, and just having this like super clear, super powerful, like the stats on it aren't bad. Direction on tier 2 where you can just know what you're gonna do for the rest of the game because you got this or 2 of these early. I think that's where my problems are lying with this particular card. I would like to see it maybe tier 3. I could even see it higher, but like I just think it gives you too much of a window if you just get this early. Like you just kind of know exactly what you're gonna do, and knowing what you're going to do in a game like Battlegrounds is so powerful.
On turn 3, like what?
Yeah. I mean,
like I was just
from Arana.
This could be a 3-drop and it would be reasonable.
Yeah, I think it would be fine, like more fine as a 3, but being on tier 2, I just think the nature of the game, this isn't okay. And how the
it
game's
reminds me
played.
of Amalgam on tier 2. Like you get it and you knew what was
It's
gonna happen.
basically that. That's kind of what it is, right? Because it's gonna start scaling. You can give it the perma shield.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. I was just thinking about like I just kind of envisioned the scenario of like I'm Reno. Turn 1, I buy like mini the 1/3 right. Turn 3, I just like roll twice, buy a lava lurker hero power.
Give it +4 attack permanently. Yeah.
Yeah. I initially when I saw this, I was thinking I would be fine with it on tier 4 too. Like someone's saying even at 3 it's too low. And I can see that happening. Like I could see that. But I think 3 is like minimum where like I might be like, it's strong, but it's not like, I can't believe this is on 3. Like I just can't believe it's on 2. So
on 3 it seems like kind of
like
it seems in line with like Bristleback Brood.
Yeah, Bristleback Brood essentially, yeah.
And this is better than Brute.
It
Because
is.
it's not only stats, like you can keep it.
Yeah.
But I mean Brute you could also Necrolite onto a cleave, right? So I think it is
it's a
actually
bit
pretty
more
good comparison.
Yeah, so at 3 I'd be okay, but I think on 2 it's too much. So that's really the one that jumps out to me. But there's still other like units that are problematic as well. Personally, if we're going to, I mean, the other direction, I think that's like one of the clear directions for Naga, and the other one is the 6-drop. But I mean, it is a 6, so it's not as atrocious just because it's on 6.
I mean, there's also Storm Scale. I think that card is really strong. Actually, I don't think like Siren's crazy. Especially you can have Siren, you can have the 5-drop Divine Shield, and then that thing has Divine Shield. And it gives a Divine Shield.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's the 3-drop Golem.
It's
like this. The strongest thing is that it counts the triggers. So if you have things that synergize with Spellcraft, it's gonna trigger them as well. Like the Snail is gonna get +2 health, all this kind of stuff. If you have the 5-drop plus the Siren, everything gets +2/+2.
Yeah,
like
that's true.
That wasn't the case, the card will be okay. Like tempo, sure. It also triggers all the value procs, which is what I'm concerned about.
Yeah, I think it's weird because it's really inconsistent with like previous wording, right? If you have stuff
that
normally
true.
says after you cast a spell or whenever you cast a spell, it doesn't count things like Stormscale Siren that makes minions do their effects, right? But specifically Stormscale Siren does trigger them. And I believe that Darkgaze Elder doesn't, right?
It
like
does,
Darkgaze
right?
Elder.
Or maybe what is Darkgaze Elder?
It's the 6-drop.
Yeah, the flat tusk. The flat tusk.
No. Oh, I thought you were talking about the Spellcraft Discover Naga card.
No. The one that puts blood gems on other things, right? It plays the blood gems, but it takes into account any buffs you have to blood gems, and it takes into account whenever a blood gem is played on this, but it doesn't trigger whenever you cast a spell effect, right? Like Darkgaze Elder doesn't trigger Athissa. But Stormscale Siren does when it makes minions do their spellcraft.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah.
Well, I mean that's what we have, so I mean it's gonna be pretty powerful with Athissa for sure, right? Like those two, if you have the lava, you have Athissa, like that's so much stats. And I mean, if you have Siren and Athissa, so much stats, and there's a lot of synergy with the card. I'm not sure how like broken it's gonna be, because it does.
It's a Naga itself. It's also a Naga itself.
Yeah, it feels combo-y though. It feels like a combo card compared to.
I mean, if you like have
it's like a
spellcraft units,
it's like a Macaw.
Like if you have any spellcraft minions like early on, right? Like you buy it and it's putting a lot of stats on the board immediately, and it's a 5/4 on 3, right?
Yeah,
so like even if you have no synergy for it, buying it on 3 is not particularly punishing.
Horrible, yeah, and then it just opens up super high rolls. That's very true.
Meanwhile, Bannerboar is a fucking one.
I mean, come on.
This thing is gonna get the Bannerboard treatment. It's gonna get smaller.
Yeah, I can see
-1 attack. Let's go.
Yeah, I
balance.
can see that for sure where it gets nerfed. I think a lot of these cards are gonna get nerfed. It feels very
Yep.
Quillbore-esque in like their first iteration where things are just obviously broken, but they want people to play Nagas. So
Yeah.
they're gonna make it strong and then they're like, oh, we'll nerf it. But, you know, it's still gonna retain some of its OP strategies for sure. I don't know. Like I understand the design philosophy of okay, we want people to play, let's make it strong, but I have other problems with that philosophy, especially when tournaments are involved. Like then I'm just like,
Yeah.
we'll talk about that later.
I guess the context is different this time because now we have had the overall and like almost any tribe is reasonable. Back when Quillbors came out, any other tribe was dog shit. So that's the difference also.
Yeah. Like basically all
these
the
are-
Quillboard nerfs got reverted and now Quillboars are kind of bad.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but these on curve are just too strong. If you get this all on curve, it's too synergistic.
It's
But if you
definitely
have
a
to
bit
force
much.
them, I don't know. I think other tribes might be able to scam you if you are forcing them. They
Yeah.
don't seem like that level of
But
broken.
why is
that you
anyone
just
else
force
playing
them and
other
win.
tribes?
They might be
People will
stronger.
play
Early
the
on,
tribe because they
right?
wanna play the new cards.
Day one, I don't think you'll be seeing that many other people playing
Yeah.
new stuff, but like after
Yeah.
like a couple of days, maybe a week, you'll start seeing people be like, well, you know what, crowbars are just better. Let me just never touch
No,
Nagas.
I specifically mean like early on, right? Like turns 3
Oh,
through
yeah.
7.
You can't get direction that quickly unless you're Nagas a lot of the
Yeah,
time.
exactly. Nothing else does what Nagas does on those early turns, right?
Yeah.
So you can
Yeah,
say
they are
afterwards, once
overcharged.
people find other pieces of other comps, they'll go start playing different things. You can start, getting beaten. But early on, it feels like the person that finds the most Naga synergy wins the most early game fights.
Yeah, that's probably
for
going to be
sure.
true.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Kinda like when
annoying.
Quillbors came out.
Yeah.
People with Roadbore and Tough Tusk just win fights.
It's gonna be weird, I guess. I don't know.
But it's different though, because like most of these stats are temporary. That's the weird thing to evaluate.
But
It's the
there
first
is
time that we have
direction
so
too.
much temporary stuff.
You can call it temporary stats. You can also just call it very big base stats.
Yeah,
right?
that's
You can
how I
look at
see
that
it.
way. Yeah, that's how I look at it.
Right? You say like, oh, like the 2 attack is like on mini Myrmidon. It's like, oh, the 2 attack is temporary. It's like, no, that's just a 3/3 on Tavern 1. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Except you can make it a 1/3 and put the 2 attack elsewhere, right?
right.
I think that's a
It's
much
3/3
better
with
way of
upside.
looking at it for sure, because it lets you see how good some cards are. Because like some of the cards, right? If you don't think about the spellcraft, they look pretty bad. But then if you add them in, then they're a lot better. Because even like this 8+8 attack thing, it's a 12/4, right? Which isn't like super good, but it's a lot better than like looking at it and saying, "Oh, I have a 4/4." It does nothing. Like,
Right. Especially when like that 8 attack goes on a cleaver as shields. Like, right? Like it's a
Yeah,
4/4, but then you can actually like pick up a Hydra and make it big, and now you have a Hydra.
Yeah, you
that
can make a
then
10
buff.
attack Hydra like at no cost. Like it's like what? That's so strong.
I think Archer is much better than it looks because, like, if you think about it, when you're like your first turn on tier 4, it's so often that you buy a jug and then end on it. Now you can just end on this, and it's basically +8 attack for 2 turns, which is huge. It's not just 1 turn. Yeah, I think this is gonna be like one of the best wardrobe to pick up the first turn on tier 4.
Dude, 8
Like
attack
tempo
is a
force.
lot. 8 attack is a lot. I feel like this card
Yeah,
is
that's
actually
so
going to be
much.
sleeper OP. I feel like this is the ground shaker of the set where people thought it was bad and it's actually like insane.
But the thing is that the more the game goes, the worse it
weaker it
becomes to
gets,
buy
yeah.
this, right? Yeah, the weaker it gets.
I mean,
The
yeah,
shaker
but
gets better and better.
the thing is with Shaker, you did invest into it, right?
I mean, you have,
This is
you have
the
splitter, you don't invest. Let's be honest.
well, yeah, but then you still like, but that's like 2 cards, right?
It's 2 gold
Yeah.
investment. It's not that bad.
If you keep spending 2 gold on this all the time, you're gonna fall behind over
Yeah.
time.
No, but I mean, you just like have it, right? And it's just like, okay, like as long as I have this, my Hydra has 8 attack, and now my Hydra is big enough where I don't need it anymore. So now I'm
Yeah,
gonna
that's
sell
what
it.
I'm saying. If you get it early, like carrying a 4/4 on your board is not that big of an investment. It's like carrying a better Light Fang. You can just keep it for a while.
I mean, it also has a
Then you
type, so it
upgrade
can
stuff.
scale, right? That's the nice thing about all of these. They all have a type, so they can all scale
So they
pretty
also
well.
can scale,
Yeah.
which makes them that much better.
Yeah.
Let's say this is your Naga for a Light Fang comp. You can just sneak a big cleave.
If we're talking about Nagas for Light Fang comp, right? It has to be the doubler,
I'm
right?
talking about scenarios. Like sometimes you triple into a 5 and it has to be Light Fang, right? That
Sure.
happens.
Yeah.
Now you can just chill with
But
your Light
can
Fang.
I-
You get a cleave, you have this, and then you power level.
Yeah, but can I just give it +1/+1 and Wind Fury instead of the
You
attack?
can also do that.
Yeah, feels a lot
But
better
then
to
you have
me.
a 4/6 Hydra with Wind Fury, or a 10
5/7
Hydra.
because it gets the +1/+1. Like the first
Yeah,
turn
true.
you would do that, it's a 5/7 with Wind Fury and Cleave. I think that
It'd
is
be a
perfectly
3/5.
serviceable.
You're-
Yeah,
It
that's
gets the
actually
Light Fang
better.
buff then, right?
Oh, sure. Yes, I guess it would.
Yeah,
That
then maybe
feels
try. It
very
makes them
fine.
so much better.
I mean, or you just like you don't have a Light Fang necessarily, you just have both of those things. Yeah, like a 12 attack Wind Fury Hydra. Seems okay.
I do think it risks dying more. Then you don't really get the Wind Fury.
I
But
mean, yeah, but like let's say you just find some other health buffs for it, right?
yeah.
Yeah, what's your
One
thoughts
thing, though,
on
to
the Critter Wrangler though? We haven't really talked about some of like the 5-drop Nagas and stuff like
Oh, this thing's crazy, right?
that.
This thing's absolutely
I think this is
crazy.
support. I don't know. Like, can you force Nagas with this? I think you need to have more synergies.
It's
If you
kind
have
of
the synergies,
direction,
it's really good.
right? Like if
Well, because
we're
it's also on a minion, right? So you could put it on a Hydra. You can just like if you're just jamming all your spells on a Hydra, and then your Hydra scales.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
yeah,
But
like,
it's not like game winning. It's like top 4.
yeah, it's like a
kind of
Light
thing.
Fang, right? In terms of like potential, where
Yeah, the way I look at this card is Pumbaa to me. This is the Pumbaa of the
Pumbaa.
Naga.
Yeah, sure.
So you
Basically, your
can't win
spellcraft
with
do
a
a little bit
Pumbaa, but
more.
you can you can synergize with it.
Yeah, but like if you have this and you have the 6-drop and you have the 3-drop that cast all the spellcraft, then it gets crazy.
Yes,
Kind of like Pumbaa. The more
Like I think
synergies
this
you add,
is gonna
the
be
better
the
it
one you
gets.
would want to use with the Avenge, right?
Yeah, this plus the Avenge is crazy. Because you get like 2 to 4 spells every turn.
you just buff the Avenge, and it never dies.
Hmm.
Yeah. There's no Death Rattle synergy with Nagas though. Like if you're going like full Nagas, you know you're not really getting that many procs. You'd have to like pick up Acolyte or Void Lord or some other thing to really take advantage of the Avenge proc. Because 3 Avenge is
Yeah,
kind of a lot.
I think the Avenge is there to play Menagerie, not to play full Naga. You can splash the spells in non-Naga comp with the Avenge. That's how I look at it. As you said, and no-Naga is Death Rattle, so how can you fit it in a Naga comp? It doesn't really make sense. Even though it is a 4/5, but still.
Yeah, it is a 3-drop, which is different, right? Usually these Avenge cards are 4s and 5s, right? Where they feel pretty good. So you're getting a pretty early Avenge unit. And maybe like early game you can just run it and like it'll be your engine for the Lava Lurker or something like that. And you just run it. It is a Naga itself, so
A 4 or 5 too. Like,
yeah, I know. You can just buy it and at no cost really, so I mean
You just buy it and put it last, and then you level to 4, and if you roll into the 4-drop that gets +1/+1, you can buy that too. It just unlocks other Nagas. It's
Yeah.
really good.
yeah. The Naga, the non-spellcraft Nagas have good synergy. Yeah, it's the spellcraft ones which are like, depends on. I mean, the early game ones are not super broken, right? But the later you get, right, once you start adding like Divine Shield, Wind Fury, 8 attack, it starts feeling pretty good. Would Siren trigger the effect of Critter Wrangler and Evertide Brood? It should, yeah. It should.
yes, we have confirmation on that, I believe.
I can.
Yeah, the siren
link.
procs all these things.
Yeah, that's why people are scared of the siren, because it synergizes with everything. Even though it doesn't read like it should, but it just ends up synergizing with all the spellcraft stuff. So
It's because it says cast their spell instead
Yeah.
of play their spell.
yeah, I think so too.
That's the keyword.
Which still technically doesn't work with the wording of those minions, which say whenever you cast a spell, right, or a spell on this. Or...
Your spellcraft
it
minions
doesn't
make you
cast
cast their
spell.
spells on themselves. Just like
Yeah.
Fine, they're like, I'll fix that. Wording change kicked me. But I feel you for sure. And then we also have to talk about the spellcrafts that give Divine Shield and Wind Fury, right? I think that opens up a lot of like interesting mechanics that you can now do, and also counterplay. Like the Wind Fury one I thought was kind of blah, but it means that, like, let's say someone's playing Macro, you can just make your minion Wind Fury, right? Because that's like right now the counter if they don't have elementals or stuff or Amalgadon. Your macro just always goes off, and like you can cheese some people. But now that you can put Wind Fury, you can just put your best minion there and then like double kill the macro before it gets the reshield. So it does open up some things. The Divine Shield also, I think, can be super problematic. The fact that it's a tier 5 minion is maybe the only saving grace, but you're gonna see some late game where people will just have like random stuff, and then you like lose them, and then the next turn they have a full board of Divine Shields, and you're just like, what happened? And they just like found 4 of these, and they're like,
Yeah. Imagine playing George.
You know what I just thought of though?
What?
You can Divine Shield your, like, remember we were talking about like what if Nadina kills your Leroy? You can Divine Shield your Leroy.
Yeah, but then it doesn't make
like-
the Prester work, right? Because then Prester.
No, because if they're opening Nadina, then Nadina kills the shield.
Oh, yeah. I mean, then you'd have to know that. Okay. Yeah,
I mean, if they're
also,
playing
like,
dragons,
you'd also need to not want to shield anything else on your board. Because that's what I heard people say with Manted Queen. It's like, oh, but if you just give a Divine Shield, then you don't need to rely on the board. Yeah, but I have 6 other minions on my board that I might want to give that Divine Shield to, right? Same with, like, you can technically play around them putting an Adina first, or having their Adina first. But also you have other minions who could want to put that Divine Shield on to do better in the fight.
I'm gonna laugh when the person has like Divine Shield Leroy, and like their like Hydra is not shielded. I'm just like, okay, okay, dude. All right. Good on you.
I mean, I'm not saying like it's always going to be right, but there's definitely like it's an option that you have.
It is an option.
There's going to be situations where it's good.
The tier 2 Naga that gives taunt for a turn, that can also mess stuff in the late game. You can trick your opponent with that. Like you have a taunt, and then the next turn you don't have it anymore.
Oh yeah, like if somebody isn't paying attention and they don't realize that was like not a permanent taunt.
I mean, it's not even about paying attention. Like the taunt is gonna be the first minion to die. Like you need to be super fast, and sometimes there are so many buffs that it doesn't even show it.
Oh yeah, that's true too.
This thing is really tricky.
That why Champion of Yashraj is getting removed, because it's too strong with that tier 2 spellcraft. The synergy is OP. Like, what is
Maybe that is that might actually. I think they just removed it because it wasn't seeing play. But
it won too many lobbies in their playtesting, and they're like, the interaction is too strong. I can see it. I can actually see it. I don't know.
Infinite scaling. Yeah. I mean, to be honest, like the ability to temporarily taunt a champion seems kind of nuts.
That's true. I mean, but still, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Their playtesting is, they try, right? So
they try.
Yeah, they definitely try. But yeah, I mean, I do think it's going to be interesting to add Wind Fury on anything, or Divine Shield on anything, and. The most scary thing, I think, obviously, is just Divine Shield Wind Fury cleaves, and if you don't like get countered by Leroy, it just like 6 for once, and you're just like, I lost to 1 card. I mean, technically 3 cards, but you lost to 1 card, right? The cleave killed everything, so
I mean, the scariest
Yeah.
is just 2 Divine Shield, Wind Fury, huge lava lurkers on every Naga board, right?
Yeah,
And then they also might have a cleave, but like those lava lurkers are there guaranteed, right?
yeah, that's why I think lava lurkers are too.
One thing to point out with Lava Lurker though is that, except for like the synergy. Wait, no, I just lied. Never mind. Ignore me.
Lava
I forgot
lurker's
that.
broken.
I was like, oh, you like can't give it health without giving it taunt unless you have like one of the 5 drops. And then I remember there's the thing like +1/+1 for every Naga. And I was like, oh,
Yeah,
never
yeah.
mind.
That
Never
one's how it's
mind.
getting big. Yeah.
Yeah, you.
Oh yeah. Okay. So nerf, please.
I mean, the one counter to Lava Lurker is that if you give it +3 health and taunt, then they can just
Yeah,
put
but
Leroy
you know,
here.
once people understand that people are playing Leroy's every game, you're not going to do that, and then that's not a counter anymore, right? So,
But in the early game, it's huge to give +3 health, though.
but
It's such a
That's the
tempo
thing.
spike.
But if you understand, I'm just opening up Leroy in the lake. You're just not going to do that, right?
Yeah,
Like-
yeah, you're not gonna do it. But it's gonna be painful, though. Like,
I mean,
so
it
many
depends on how
people
you're
are gonna
playing it,
taunt
right?
it
If your
anyway.
comp is the Lava Lurker, then you don't want to taunt it. But if you're just going to be like, well, my Lava Lurker is huge, now I can just level like an idiot and make like a good comp.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it
Then you
depends
do
whether
it.
you want to keep it or not. Like, if you're really committed to it.
And
But
I
there's
mean,
an
like,
argument to be made that Lava Lurker doesn't need 3 health, right?
Yeah, that's true, right? You don't need the health. I mean, if
It
you have
starts off as a 2/5 already.
Yeah.
It
It's
doesn't
so
need the
huge.
extra health that early.
I
right?
mean, if you wanted to literally just solo your opponent's entire board, then maybe it does.
Yeah, but if,
Yeah.
if you have like a 60 attack Divine Shield Wind Fury, like you're fine. Like you're 5 health.
Yeah, but I'm talking about like early game, right? I just like I have the 1/3 and then the thing that gives +3 and taunt, and I'm just like, all right, this is scaling 2/3 a turn. All right, now I'm leveling to 6.
Only the first spell is permanent.
Oh,
All
right,
right.
that's true. You can do it and just do it afterwards if you have another synergy.
Yeah, you just give it +3 health later if you have 2 spells.
Oh yeah.
That's
okay.
a good point. That's a really good point as well. Yeah.
Just gotta be careful with order, Copium.
Order Lakoya for sure. I mean, that we never mess up order here, so I think we're fine. Haha.
Yeah, I mean, the other day I meant to taunt a Thor Collar and I taunted the Alakir body, and then I got 5th because of it. It felt bad.
Yeah. Is there any card we've missed? I guess Eventide Brute we haven't really talked about.
We basically haven't even talked about Athissa.
True.
I mean, this is for 6-drop. We're going from
Okay.
bottom to the top.
Oh, I guess we are.
We're going
I
in
don't know.
any order we want, but
Yeah.
but
I'm going from most broken to least broken personally.
I think the
Yeah.
most broken is the Octopus. I don't think it's Athis. I
the
think
6
it's
drop,
Octopus.
huh?
Yeah, that thing is busted. It's Genie on steroids. Like level to 5, you
it's not
triple into a
Naga.
6. Sure, like you level to 5, you triple into a 6, you get this, and then you discover a Naga. So it's a Naga. And
Yeah,
then
you get it
every
immediately.
turn,
Yeah,
you
you get it
discover Naga
immediately, and every
again.
turn you get and it's better. Yeah, it's better than Genie because you're discovering instead of like just
Yeah.
randomly. And Genie is
Yeah.
very good. So
I mean,
It's
also
just-
this is a 5/9, which is pretty big.
yeah,
And like in general, when
It's
you
two
discover a
body in
Naga,
one card. Like if you power level to 5, there's a very huge chance that you don't have 7 minions. Discovering this is so huge. You get 2 minions at once and you fill your board. It's insane. And then you get value every turn. Such
yeah.
a swing.
If you get
crazy.
this early, you could probably safely level too, right? Like when just because
Yeah.
you're
You just
getting
go to
3
6.
cards, yeah. So you get to go to 6, and you can start discovering it, the Athissa, and then
Yep.
so yeah.
Like this
Yeah.
thing is kind of like the Elise body, but for Nagas.
Yeah,
that's a good way of
yeah,
putting it.
and that's really strong.
I think another thing to point out is the fact that like you can also like have the spellcraft, like you have it, you triple into 5, then you level to 6 immediately, discover an Athissa. But also like a lot of the Nagas that you discover, they're gonna have immediate effects for the turn, even if they're not things you want to include, right? You just discover,
Yeah.
everything's
Shield.
bad, but there's a spellcraft unit, so then you just like cycle it, you get a bit of extra stats for the turn. Versus like, Genie, which might give you an elemental that does literally nothing.
I see what you're saying, because the payoff of a Naga is way better than the payoff of an elemental on average. And then when you include the fact that you discover it, it means that you can choose. Oh, I want Divine Shield here. I want Wind Fury. I want 8 attack. I want the the doubler. I want another Lava Lurker. Haha. It's turn 10,
Yeah.
but
You
I'll
can
take
discover
one.
a triple if you have a Naga pair as well.
Yeah. So there's quite a powerful use case for the card. So I do understand what you're saying, where this might just be very nuts. So well, I mean, it's a 6-drop, so
Copium.
Copium.
Leveling to 5 costs 9 gold again.
If
That's
everyone's
saying.
too busy staying down low, buffing up their lava lurkers, they're not tripling in.
Yeah, well, I'm a tier 6 enjoyer, so I'll be up there.
I mean, it's new meta. I'm going 3-on-3 every other game, so.
I don't know. I'll find a way, right?
I think 3-on-3 is going to be very strong.
Yeah, I agree.
Amalgam incentivizes so much to go 3-on-3. If you want to play it. Maybe Amalgam sucks, though. Who knows?
Because Lava Lurker's on 2, it's also incentivizes staying on 2 too, so it might not.
It incentivizes
If you're going
going to
3-on-3,
2-on-2,
it means you went
right?
2-on-2.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
Lava Lurker incentivizes 2-on-2, but then when you don't see Lava Lurker, you go 3-on-3.
3, yeah.
Because then you can see the Siren.
Yeah.
Once you have the Siren, every single spellcraft minion is suddenly insane.
Yeah, it's basically going to be the same curve as Quillbor meta. Same exact thing.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm definitely
You get the
getting
broken
those
2-drop
vibes.
where you go 3-on-3, yeah.
We
Yeah.
go for them.
And then we
Remember
have,
going 3-on-3, you get Bristol Bannerboard, GG Clap, I got top 2.
yeah, it was really not fair. I agree. And we have Kali Naga. We haven't really talked about it at all, but it's good. I mean,
It's a lot of stats.
Yeah, it's a lot of stats, and it has
Barov.
synergies. Yeah. Barov is gonna have a lot of fun times this meta. Like, I do, like, it doesn't even make sense. Like, I went up bed and I get 3 gold, 3 spells. Like, I don't know. It seems a bit much.
Like, the only thing holding him back is that it's a new meta, so everyone's gonna be doing random crap.
Yeah.
But if people are 3-on-3, that helps you.
It does.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Like,
Unless
I think-
two people go 3-on-3 together.
Well, I mean, you should know, right? If they have a Naga, then they win.
No, but like if a lot of people are going 3-on-3, right? They very often tie, and also the turn 4 becomes shit show.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, we'll see.
I mean, once the meta settle, Barov is going to be the best hero.
Barov was the best hero before Buddies,
Yeah.
so there's a very good chance it just becomes
Yeah.
the best hero again. Yeah. So
Also, we haven't
much
really talked about
synergy.
Vol'jin and Mutant.
we haven't talked
Vol'jin
about
is
healed
cool.
heroes yet. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's just like with the spellcraft, oh my goodness.
Huh.
Yeah, I mean,
I guess that's
Everything's a
true.
lava lurker.
so-
Yeah, because you can just switch it and it becomes permanent. That's true. That's a good point. Maybe Vol'jin.
Yeah, but the thing with Vol'jin is that you already have the Shaker thing. So if you are already cycling gems for the Shaker, I don't know how many spellcraft you can buy. But the +8 attack is good for sure on Vol'jin. It's like Shaker and you don't even need the gems. So you just give +8 and then you switch.
That's terrifying.
Yeah. All right.
Like, is it more terrifying than Shaker swapping every turn? I don't know.
I mean, the
Like
thing
with
is with
Shaker-
Shaker,
With Shaker, you buff 2 minions at a time. With this, you only buff 1. Obviously, it's cheaper, but
I mean, you're not limited to a single spell, right? You can buff 2 separate minions with different spellcraft spells, and then swap the 2 of them, and they both keep it permanently.
yeah, I guess. But like, Are
Naga
you gonna buy
Voting
other
sounds
aircraft
fine.
than +8 attack? +8 attack seems like the only one.
No, I mean you're just playing Nagas, but then you get to keep the buffs. That's
Yeah,
that's how
you
I
just
look
you
at
just
it.
have a
full
board of
Naga on
spellcraft spells.
Vol'jin? Oh, I thought we were playing Max on Vol'jin. Okay, then.
Oh
It-
no.
You can get Divine Shield on your
Yeah, I mean,
Nagas.
you
if want,
can.
yeah,
Like,
so.
you can eventually then pick up a random Divine
Yeah.
Shield mech and swap it onto that, but you don't need to start off with mechs and buff the mechs.
Yeah, and you just need a
I
Lava
guess.
Lurker too, right? And you can just like give
Yeah.
it Lava Lurker stats and then give it Divine
Nagas,
Shield.
and then you switch into Hydra. Sure.
I mean, Vol'jin literally doesn't need Lava Lurker at all.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
doesn't.
know, but I'm just like saying, like if you want Divine Shields, like, that's why you could just add
That's
one.
Nail is really good on Vol'jin then.
Yeah, the
Like
snail is gonna be
cavalry.
good.
Yeah, we haven't talked about the shell collector that add a gold coin. That seems pretty like ridiculous. Like that they're just
Yeah.
adding more economy, and
I
it's
like
a
this thing
it's a
because it's
battle
a buff
cry.
to Hook Tusk, and I like playing Hook Tusk.
I think this thing is like competing for best one drop with Elemental, and I'm
Yeah.
slightly scared that something is actually competing with the strength of Elemental.
Yeah,
That's-
I mean, it only has one health though. to
there's
be
too much
fair.
infinite gold cycling. I think. With
Yeah.
brand, like there's too much because they're adding shell collector, they're adding the 4-drop, they're adding just like economy in general as well with like discover the Naga too. So like you can just end up having a situation where you feel like Galliwix and you're just like, I just have a brand. But you feel like Galliwix because you're just like, oh, I buy this, I get 2 gold, I sell it, I get a free gold. But the 4-drop, I get 5 gold, I sell it, I find another one, I buy it, I get 2 gold, and you're just like going crazy. Just because you have a brand and there's so much Battlecry stuff. So I don't know. I'm not that happy that they're adding more economy because I just think like in the hands of the right players, you just go infinite and it just becomes hard to contest. So
I mean, I think without buddies, maybe you're not getting to that point as much.
you just need a brand, right? Like, oh no. Like,
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, that point is like you're on a high tavern tier with a brand, right? You're not getting to that point as much.
I find a way.
Oh, I
That's
didn't say
the
you
thing,
wouldn't
right?
get there.
You
I said
are
you
the
wouldn't get
one
there.
playing that, so it's okay.
Yeah,
The opponent do
I
it, then
guess
it's not
so.
okay.
I guess so, right? Like that's
If
true.
the very top players find a way, then that's their edge, right? Let's say you actually like climb. You kind of need that.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Hopefully,
Also,
it's
this
not too
thing
common.
is the first token that doesn't buff Galwix, so thumbs up.
True. I mean, Galwix is still totally fine with this thing. It's free for him.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if Galliwix is sad about this
not
card.
+1 gold.
I mean, you get a gold.
Well, I mean, neither is Swabby.
But Swab is not that good on Galwix.
It's good.
Yeah.
Well, I guess it's not. It's not as good.
Like, this is better than Swabby.
Yeah, but every token is better than Swabby.
Yeah, that's
Swab is
true.
like,
Yeah.
child we don't talk about.
Yeah, I
Until
skip
you triple it.
Swabbies sometimes with Galley, so yeah, that's true.
Yeah, because with Galix, like you want to keep cycling and getting like that +1 gold every turn, while the Swabby breaks the chain, which is awkward sometimes.
Yeah, for sure. So. Yeah, well, that's true. It's not as good with Galley, but I mean, Galley still likes extra gold, just generally. Like, even if
I mean,
it's
you do need economy units that people can buy on turn 1. Like, I think it's important.
Yeah, I mean,
like now there is.
I just don't like the synergy with brand. I guess is my issue. That's my concern.
I mean,
but I'm pretty
if you
sure
don't
they
have
need
Naga
to put
synergy,
between-
then it's just okay. You spent 3 gold and you got 3 gold, right?
Yeah. All right. Fine. Whatever.
If you have golden brand, it's +1 gold, but that's like golden brand. That's always been crazy.
I'm ready in a month for you guys to be like, oh, this card is so stupid, man. I'm ready, but it's fine. I'll just sit here.
This card is definitely stupid if you have Bran and Atissa. I'll give you that. That's for sure.
Thank
you. But like that's like you have Bran Athissa. Like I think that's the case of like, you know, you
should get a reward for having Bran Atissa.
Alright, fine.
Right.
I mean, it's similar-ish to like Bran Agam with a Blood Gem generator, right?
Right.
Except this
it's
is
just
free.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I say similar, not the same. This is slightly better, but also if this is a 6-drop, Agam's a 5-drop, right? And bludgeon
Yeah,
generators
exactly.
are more common than just the one singular card, so.
I think this is fine. It's gonna be fun to play Brown on 6, and I'm all
it's
for
always
it.
fun playing Brand's. Brand's never been like not fun for me. I'm just like, yeah.
I don't know. During ARM meta, my boy Bran was sad.
Yeah,
crying in the
okay, yeah.
corner.
There was a meta where I was like, I can't buy Brand, and I was very confused. I was like, Brand's not good here. Like,
Why is that?
yeah, couldn't figure it out. But yeah, I think this card is gonna have complaints, but maybe it's fine. And then
don't think people are going to complain about this card.
no,
even
you're
if
right.
it's
You're
wrong.
right. You're right, dude. People they're just gonna target like the 6-drop that's broken, and then they're gonna ignore the 1-drop economy that's really activating the broken.
Right. It was like Faceless. Nobody complained about
Yeah.
Faceless because you couldn't tell that that's what you lost to.
Yeah, I agree. Faithless was a problem. Glad it's
Faithless
not
was
back.
fun.
Yeah.
But the other cards, we haven't talked about the double Dominion stat card. Some people don't like it. Some people think it's okay. What's your thoughts on this card?
If you don't immediately have a way to buff it, it's like you just triple into a 5-drop and it's a 4/4. Like,
Yeah, you need the Light Fang engine or something where you can just.
you need some engine, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I think
feel
it's
like-
not that good. I mean, I think it's okay. I'm not saying it's terrible.
Yeah. The
But I think
problem
it's
is
going to be very
Nagas-
hard to triple into.
Nagas don't have that engine outside of Athissa, basically. Right?
Like, you need some sort of scaling engine that's permanent, which is like on 5 and 6.
It could
It's
be okay with Agam, but even then, it's not like the best Naga you can have.
Yeah.
So.
I think it's a good menagerie piece. That's how I look at it. If you want to go menagerie, like sometimes you get 2 5s and it's like a Light Fang Mithrax. You could do Light Fang this card, and just say okay.
Yeah.
For sure.
I'd still
Isn't
rather
Mithrax
have
better?
either the Wind Fury or the Shield Naga as my menagerie, but like
Yeah, I'd rather have the
Doesn't
shield
help
one.
support.
I agree,
Yeah.
but
Or
this
at
is
least,
something. And especially if like there's no poison, you can definitely create this card soloing a whole board. Well, unless they have a Leroy, which there will.
Right.
But you know, like maybe if the Leroy is like taunted and you have some other filler, like you could have this like 5th place where it's like a 400 unit and it just like solos the rest of people's boards. So I do think there is some potential with this, especially if you triplet, right? You can have this like be 300 stats or I mean, you know, into 900, and it's just like, yeah, well,
Like, you're Vol'jin, you just need some massive stats,
so
and you just
Yeah,
like
these some
swap this
Vol'jin.
in.
But actually, though, it doesn't. Yeah, you can't do really broken stuff. 'cause
Yeah,
it's
you
only
can't do
doing
really
combat.
broken stuff, but you can basically be like, oh, I have like a 100, but I want a 200, so I guess here we go.
yeah,
Yeah.
like
Or you can just get like Battle Master and then you swap with this, and then you have a big boy.
Yeah.
yeah. So there is some potential with this card, but it requires effort, and you also need to commit to it. Which I
Yeah,
think
it
Yeah,
doesn't
I
seem
feel like-
super broken to me
But
at
tier
all.
5, it seems a bit too expensive. But if
Yeah.
it was a tier 4, it
Yeah,
would
yeah.
feel a bit
If
wrong.
this was a tier 4, I would be super complaining. I agree.
Yeah.
But tier 5, you have to
It's
put
in a
some
weird
effort.
spot.
I can
Maybe if
see
it
this
was a
card
3-2.
actually getting buffed. Like,
Yeah,
I can
if
see
this
them
was a
saying like 2/2
3-2,
is too little.
Make it a 3-3.
Make it a 3/3, maybe.
Maybe it is
Yeah.
okay. At least it's a 6-6 by itself.
Yeah.
Yeah, that seems okay.
Yeah, I could see that too, actually.
they did that with like
A
Raging
card that
Roar
doesn't
already,
scale.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. I can see this getting buffed, though. I can also see this like getting removed as well. So,
Yep.
so
I think this card at lower level might be a problem.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, that's very true. This could be the noob stomper, where people don't play Leroys and stuff, and you're just like, well, I have one 300 here, and I win the lobby. Like, and no one knows how.
And
to
then
counter.
like somebody has this, and then they're it gets killed by a Leroy, and then they go on Reddit and can't be like, Leroy's so broken.
Yeah, I can see that.
Like, it had Divine Shield. Like, I made this 300 taunt Divine Shield.
Yeah.
Don't forget the taunt.
Yeah, exactly. Because people just make massive taunts, and it's like, dude, why are you being so toxic? You're just gonna lose when somebody puts poison first.
Yeah, so it's an interesting card, interesting design for sure. I do think it's hard to play like in high level lobbies because you have to invest super hard into it, and that always opens up like huge weaknesses. But could be a really strong card, especially if people aren't like playing around and you can like, and if you can instantly give it stats, that can be really powerful. So if you're playing Vol'jin or something like that, and you're just like, well, I just buy it, swap into like my biggest unit or something, and now it's has 100 health out of nowhere or 50 health out of nowhere. That could be pretty powerful, but generally, I don't think people are going to like fully invest into this a lot of the time. So we'll just have to see. But yeah,
But I will introduce you to a crazy concept. Maybe now that Amalgadon got removed, we'll actually have to invest into our carries.
No. It's combo comps every day, boys. Beast, Menagerie, Goldrin. That's the only way. Leapers, yes.
Leapers,
Dude,
for
I'm
sure.
actually so scared of Leapers. Just
Oh,
like,
dude, Divine Shielded Baron. Oh my god.
like you
just find the thing, shield your Baron off.
you never get zapped now because you can always buff it because usually you used to have to rely on quill boards to play around, and they can always find a way to buff it a little bit so that it's not the biggest minion on your. I mean, not the lowest attack minion. So yeah, I mean, Leapers are gonna have a field day probably. And you can give your Macaw Wind Fury Divine Shield, like, yeah, okay.
Okay, but Leapers are gonna have a field day except for the part where people have Wind Fury Divine Shield Hydras.
Yeah.
Listen, ignore that. That's only high level lobbies, you know. Like
That's no. Making big Hydras.
Copium.
Yeah.
They can't do it.
Like low MMR players definitely don't just go all in on making massive Hydras. Definitely not.
Yeah, okay. I hear you.
Especially after they saw it on stream.
I guess
Yeah.
that's true.
The thing is, like, usually my experience is that players who aren't as good at the game always want the cleave. Like, they always want Hydra. Like, from people in chat suggesting, like, why don't you take that Hydra? Right?
Like, no way to buff it whatsoever. Like, no hope of it at all. It's like, what is the cleave?
I have noticed that too. Okay.
I mean, I used to be a cleave Andy myself, so I can relate.
I mean, making big Hydras is like the best thing to do. Dude, you can actually make big Hydras with Hogger now. It's so crazy.
Like,
I can't believe
they
they
did
did that.
like a 2020 Hydra was big Hydra, so it wasn't that hard.
Yeah, that's true. Like, you just buy a couple of jugs. There also used to be the 4/5 in the game, so you could actually battlecry buff it consistently.
Yeah, that's true. I forgot about that card, the Sensei.
What card is? Oh, the 4/5. Oh yeah. Oh, it did get removed.
Sensei.
I used to love doing that.
Card.
Yeah, I feel you.
Now that you make me think about that card,
it was pretty fun.
Yeah. Literally, the card's only actual function was buffing Hydra, but they did it very well.
Yeah, it was a fun one to do. Anyways, I think any other Nagas you want to talk about here? Anything, or I think we covered most of them. I mean, we haven't really covered the spellcraft ones, but they were kind of just relying on whether you get the other synergy. That's why we kind of ignored them, right? But like, show the 3/1, give a minion +1 for each friendly Naga, right? You're not really caring too much about them unless you have Lava Lurker, unless you have Antissa, unless you have the other pieces, right? They're not like a core part, but they just kind of facilitate what you want to do once you start getting the other pieces that we did talk about. I guess we haven't talked about the Snow Cavalier. Once a turn, if you cast a spell, gain 2 health. I do think if you get this early and you have a spellcraft, it's pretty damn good, right? You're getting 2 health on a 5 attack minion every turn, but it's not a key piece. You're probably, I mean, I guess you could keep it, but it's not something you care too much to have.
yeah,
if you had a bacon,
once you get into the mid game, like, you can just ditch it. But in the
Yeah.
early game, it's super strong.
Yeah, early game it's super good, but once you have real direction, you're probably just gonna get rid of it because you can get more than 2
It's
health on
gonna
a
be like,
minion.
I don't know, 5-12. Like, that's not that impressive in the mid game.
I mean, mid game it is right, but late, I guess mid late, like that transition.
Yeah, I'm talking about like turn 10.
That's horrible. Yeah, yeah, for sure. But early game, it's really solid for sure. So
Yeah, for sure.
it has synergy. So it's a decent
It's
card.
like a road ball, right?
Yeah.
You keep it and then you sell it.
And then you sell it. Yeah, I agree.
Except with this, you don't actually have to like invest your buffs into it like you did with Road Boar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, it's not once you cast a spell on this, it's just once you cast a spell wherever. There's a big difference.
Yeah, and it works with coins, it works with gems and whatnot, so it's pretty easy to trigger.
It's a good buff for the Quillbore hero.
It is. Yeah.
Now
Oh.
on tier 2, you not only have the Quillbores, you also have this one. So you have 3 outs, which is really, really good.
Blackthorn's gonna be pretty good, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. He really is gonna be pretty good.
Yeah, if you get synergies, it's gonna be pretty strong. You can power level to 6, I think. It's like every time you level, let's say you have a tough task, you had a shield, then you have a snail, you get +2 health, and you got +2/+2 on top of that. Like, it's really good.
Talk about the Discover one. We did talk about the Discover one a little bit earlier. We think it's broken. I mean, it's going to be really good. It allows you to level quickly. And if you discover it early, it fills your board. You get to discover a Naga that, is usually going to give you tempo because they usually have spellcraft or some kind of synergy. And then once you level, you also start pulling Atisas. And once you get Atissa on your board, you have your full direction. You can just pop off. So we think it's going to be really good. It's a better
It's the
genie.
card that you want to triple into.
Yeah.
Right? It's
definitely one
Yeah.
of the better 6s. But I think
Maybe
there's a
the
lot of good
silver one?
6s, to be fair. Like, almost all the 6s except for probably the Mantis Queen's the weakest one, which is funny because
I mean,
it's
also the Murloc one, if you are tripling early, you don't really want that. Murkai.
yeah, I
Depends on
guess
what you're tripling.
yeah.
you have to be already
Murlocs.
Murlocs for this to be good. But if you are Murlocs, this is insane, right? It's like a
I mean, if you just
Gurgle.
have a Primal Fin,
Yeah.
it's printing money.
Yeah, but that's not that good, right? It's just an 8/5 that gives you 1 gold if you're not playing Murlocs.
I mean,
It's like a genie.
right. The genie's not trash.
Yeah, it's okay.
And if you have a
I like-
brand, right?
Usually, if you're power
Like, you have a
leveling
brand
and
and you have a
tripling
Primal
into
Fin, you
6,
have this, like, cool.
yeah, but I'm talking like usually if you power level and you get a 6, you are not gonna have a primal fin on your board unless if you got lucky with Todd, which can
Yeah.
happen, I guess.
I mean, 8 attack, though. Like, it's decent stats.
Are you
Rat-
gonna build Murlocs around this? Like,
Honestly,
you're gonna roll 2 Murlocs. You don't have a brand, like
I mean, I don't
it's
know.
not
I'm not
that
saying
easy
it's
to roll
amazing,
Murlocs.
I mean,
but
I'm gonna build Murlocs around it if I can pick up a brand.
Yeah.
Is the
Exactly.
caveat.
Like I think this is one of the weakest 6 drops if you are power leveling. If you
Yeah.
already have
If
Murlocs
you're power
going, then
leveling,
it's
this
really
isn't good. But
Yeah,
if you
that's-
have
yeah.
Murlocs, this is a really good like
Same.
finisher or stabilization like for Murlocs. So yeah,
and it's also like for the end when you're like, I need some more stats, but I also really can't afford to buy battle cries because I need selfless, and I can't afford to keep this brand on my board.
Yeah. I think once this gets going, it's gonna get really big, really fast.
yeah.
Oh yeah,
I mean, it's basically better Felbat at that point, but requires a bit more setup. And Felbat's already good.
That's one way of looking at it. It's a Felbat for Murlocs. I don't like that.
I am sorry for putting that thought in your head.
I don't like that. That's actually disgusting. Okay, I might play it more because of that statement. That's a good point. Yeah. All right.
It is not possible for it to triple your Amalgadon because there's no more Amalgadon.
I do think Brand's gonna have a field day in this patch. Like,
Oh my God.
everything seems to have Brand synergy. That's what I've noticed.
Yeah.
Almost everything has brand synergy here. So.
What doesn't is not gonna be good.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, so
Ape demons.
except for Leroy, just buy that. Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, I do think there's gonna be a lot of nonsense. The next thing, I think, since we talked about pretty much most of the Nagas, I wanted to talk a bit about Lobby Legends, right? Because that's gonna be happening in a couple of days, and I mean, I talked to Shady about this a little bit. He was more fair, I guess, or more reasonable. I wasn't happy that they're going to be doing a Lobby Legends tournament based on this patch because there's so many things that can go wrong. First of all, you have like 3 days to practice this meta, and then you have to figure out what's good, and then you also are going to be judged based on your capabilities here. This isn't what you practice to get to the finals, right? You've pretty much been learning the last 3 months how to play buddies well, and now you basically have to in 3 days relearn a whole meta just to and people are gonna judge you, right? Like if you would like go triple eighth in this patch, people are gonna be like, oh, this guy sucks, but that's not really the case, right? Maybe you had work, or you had some other commitments that you didn't know that, oh, I need to spend like 3 days this week practicing this patch. And I mean, I have more to say, but like I don't want to hog the whole thing here. I just wanted to kind of say, what's your thoughts on this? Is this okay? Like some people think it's fine, like that's just part of learning the game and whatnot, but I think it's a bit weird.
I think it's like happened. It's always happened. Like they always do this.
I know. But
this is regular practice for standard tournaments.
I know. But does that mean it's okay? That's just my.
I mean, here's one thing I would say. I think if you weren't guaranteed to get like, you get like what is it, like $1,200, $1,300 no matter how you place in this tournament. Like if you weren't guaranteed significant amounts of money, I think I would definitely I would see more of a problem with it. But you do already get something just for getting to this point. Not just for showing up, but for getting to this point.
So it's fine because like the downside isn't nothing. Like you've already made it to the finals. Even if you do badly, you've already made it there, so you're guaranteed some prizing, and it shouldn't feel as bad. Is what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay, that's somewhat reasonable. I can understand that for sure.
I mean, honestly, I'm on the minority. I think that this is good, and I think it's fun, both for the viewers and also as a player. I will be excited to play in such event because everyone has the same time to practice. And also, if the tournament was played on the old patch, like nobody will want to watch it anyway. So what
I
would be the
would.
point?
I would watch it first. But I guess this is what I wanted to hear. I wanted to hear some alternative opinions. Personally.
Yeah, like
I agree. Sorry, go ahead.
It's also like the fact that if it's getting played on the old patch, like they've taken away your ability to practice on the old patch for like 3 days before the tournament. Like obviously you had a lot of practice beforehand.
Yeah.
But like also it makes it feel like you can't play the new stuff.
Oh, you're right.
Way,
that's true.
Because you'll start to like unlearn how to play the buddy patch.
That's true.
That's a big point.
And
could
also
I have the tournament 3 days early. Come on, like right before the patch drops, you just have the tournament, and then after the tournament, you have the patch. Like that could be an easy compromise. Like it's not.
I mean, it would be significantly worse for viewership, though, I think.
Yeah, like people, like, currently, I'd say viewership is quite low based on the fact that everybody's in Naga waiting room. And people don't really care about Battlegrounds right now. And you don't, like, if you are somebody who is already established, it's less of an issue, right? Yeah. But if you're somebody who wants to make a name for themselves, you need people to actually be watching this, right?
Yeah.
Because like frankly, the prize money is nowhere near as significant as the exposure you get, right?
That's probably true. I mean, that's true for the winner. I would say that's not true if you don't win, because I don't know why, but people don't care about like second place that much. But I do think for the winner, like it is really good exposure. So.
I mean, people don't care about the second place also because, at least in the last Lobby Legends, as soon as it was over, like there was no overview, nothing. Like you needed to go and search and dig for the final bracket if you wanted to know who even was the second place.
Oh,
Just
really?
show the winner, and that was it.
Oh, yeah. That's bad production. I would say then.
Also, I think the check format, the way the check format is, definitely encourages people to only care about the person who won.
Yeah.
Well, I mean that's
This
hard.
time it was a bit anticlimactic, but
Yeah.
I don't expect
We also had a
others to
situation of the
Lobby
tournament
Legends,
being
so-
very like Be Nice just kind of dominated.
I threw. I think I could have not made him win that lobby if I played it better, but it's whatever. I was not
But you know,
I
if
mean,
you
I
look
don't
from
know,
the point of view of a
watching
spectator,
For a viewer's perspective, he like got really good comp and then like sniped all the threats one after another before
Yeah.
they could pop off. So
Yeah, I guess that's true. Yeah.
he sniped the U, he sniped the Tikatus, he sniped them all. It was just insane, but kudos
Yeah.
to Be Nice. He played really well.
Yeah.
like I think if you have a situation where two people have the lobby in check,
That's
there's
more
more likely to
interesting,
be
yeah.
attention on
the
that
second
other
player,
person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Like, Be Nice that they just like kind of rolled everyone, and it was just like, yeah, well, all right. Guess it's over. It was so quick. I was like, no, no one else could compete. But yeah, I guess yeah. I mean, it's more of the results of that first tournament more than just like the tournament itself in terms of exposure. I would say for that is pretty true. So maybe if there was like a second person getting in check and there was like a back and forth, right, that would be a little bit more interesting for the viewers and maybe give them more exposure for both players. So I would agree with that. But it's kind of cool to hear the different opinions and how people are like, it's fine. I just didn't like. I guess from a competitive standpoint, I don't like it, and that's really like my priority. But there are other benefits, I would say, for having it in this way, where things change and then bam, there's a big tournament about it. So it kind of reminds me of the invitationals that they used to have, where they'd invite some big streamers and then they would just be playing on a new patch for prize pool, where it didn't really feel like they knew exactly. But at least here you have more skilled, or most likely more skilled players. Like the streamers aren't bad by any means, but like these people have been like grinding for months, so they're usually pretty knowledgeable, and hopefully they can learn the meta in a couple days.
It is a separate skill set. You're somewhat linked.
Yeah.
Yeah, like some people are better at learning stuff and other people are better at grinding and perfecting the strategies. So this way at least people get to showcase their skill.
Yeah.
Like they show that they had the second skill by qualifying at the end of the season. Now they get to show if they also have the skill to adapt quickly.
Yeah, that's definitely the way to look at it. It just sucks if you're not a good player at adapting quickly, right? And you just lose because of that. And like the first lobby that was not an issue, right? That isn't a skill that's being tested, but this one randomly, you will be. But it is part of the game.
The next one, it's going to be a skill of how can you play through lag when you're playing on the.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I have it's like 200 millisecond lag for every action. It's pretty bad. So there are.
I just gave up already, honestly.
Same.
I'm gonna try.
I mean, I will play, but I don't expect to do top 4, honestly.
That's fair.
I
guess
I'm not gonna show up.
With a very limited time, right? It's only a few weeks, so it's really, really grindy to get there.
Okay, that's a good point. I like hearing that it's not all bad, and other people do like the changes and like playing a tournament with the changes. So That's good. I was just like not happy, but I guess from learning others' perspectives, listening to Shady as well as you guys, I'm kind of like, all right, it's not as bad as I initially felt. So that's pretty cool. I guess kind of last thing I guess would be the just like the any meta hero discussions, any like notable things are going to be a lot better because of these changes. Like, uh,
Maybe we should talk about the armor before this.
Oh yeah. You're right. Oh, that's a big deal. I actually completely forgot. Let's talk about armor. I completely forgot about that as well. So yeah, Zero armor.
Honestly, I expected them to remove the armor instead of reworking it.
Removing it.
They did
removing it for some
said,
time
right?
and then bring it back.
Yeah, we previously said if you remove it all, then you're just gonna have trash heroes that are obviously going to be trash. So you're most likely going to be better off giving like a preliminary amount, like we guess it's roughly this, and then you update it afterwards. I think you're less likely to have balance problems with heroes having too much or too little armor doing this. Then you have balance problems from heroes that don't have armor that very obviously need it.
Yeah, and there is like some prior data that they can look at, so
Right.
it's not a blind guess. They have some.
You can just you just look at where the heroes were before.
Yeah, I mean, I wish it was that easy.
And,
but
and then you put Drekthar and Vandor on maximum armor, obviously.
Yes, you do.
Which they did.
I mean,
and you call it a day. You're done. You know you're like job's done. They have 10 armor guys or 7 most of the time. But yeah.
Yeah, actually, now that you say that, most heroes are basically where they were before the bodies.
Mm-hmm. I think that's generally fair, right? So if we're looking at you want to go armor by armor, or do you want to move around? Because I haven't looked at this at all. To be fair, I have no idea, so I don't mind going armor.
We can just go down the list and see if there's any that like are surprising.
All right, so tier 1, 0 armor. Rafam, Hooktusk, Cookie, Daryl, Omu, Flurgle, Galewing, Inni, Lord Barov, Maev, Master Win, Millhouse, Mutinous, Ashara, Scabs, Vol'jin, and Ysera. Anything jump out to you guys from this?
Inni.
Yeah, only Inni.
Inni, yeah. Inni is weird because right now she's like near.
They hate Inni, so this is understandable.
No, I don't think it's that they hate Inni. It's that Inni overperforms at the lowest MMR ranges.
Yeah. So they're just scared to give her any buffs because they don't want her to be too strong at lower MMRs. But like, if you're a high MMR player, it just looks so wrong. Like it's like, what's going on here?
I mean, Ysera also has 0 armor, so.
I mean, Ysera, like we've seen it be very.
Yeah. You give Ysera some armor, and it's a problem.
Right?
Yeah, I guess. Like, what's weird to me is Queen Ashara, 0 armor.
What's your thoughts on that hero?
I think the hero is reasonable, but usually what they do is they put it like 1 armor tier above
too
where
high.
it should be.
Yeah.
Then they nerf it by 1.
Yeah.
So
everyone
this time
Phelan had
already
like
hero, so they think this hero is crazy good.
Yeah, which is understandable. Like 1 gold to discover a thing is really, really good, right?
Yeah, but like if you don't have Chroma, it's gonna take a while before you activate. It's kind of like Ragnaros that you can control.
Yeah, I think turn 6, turn 7 usually is when it's gonna pop. So
yeah,
you have to take into account there's less of a problem that the hero power doesn't do anything early, right? Like right now, we very much have the feeling that if your hero power isn't doing something right immediately from the start of the game, that's a problem. But that's because of buddy meter, right?
Yeah.
If you remove that factor, it's not as big a deal that she doesn't do anything extra in the very early turns.
I don't know though, because like if you get in a lobby with some tempo heroes, like you can easily start the game on 20 HP. If you don't have a
maybe
hero power.
maybe the hero power is good enough to mitigate that, right? That's the question, right? Is being able to force
discovers afterwards, If the discovers afterwards just make it that you get a good Naga setup very quickly, isn't a big deal that you lost that early health, right?
It's definitely of the category of a hero where if it's good and if she survives, she's very good,
Yeah,
right?
she's gonna be really
So
good.
then
Yeah.
I think it's reasonable to say we don't want to give her help surviving.
Yeah, like if she has too much armor, she is a very big problem. So maybe 0 armor is too little, but it's better than giving her too much.
Yeah, but
Probably.
it is interesting. That's a good point that Soren made. It's interesting that it's initially getting 0 armor. Basically, their playtest is like, this is so strong that we can't even.
I think that
like,
makes sense.
Yeah.
Like every hero that because they're generally not going to be balancing around the highest level, and basically every hero that gives you tribal direction does really well.
Yeah.
At lower
low
levels of play.
and in their playtesting as well. Like, to be fair, because we're not playtesting, right?
Those are one and the same, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So they're probably doing okay, but like maybe once you get to high MMR, we just kill the Asharas, right? And it's like this hero doesn't do anything. But maybe in their playtesting, they always get to get their warband to proc, their buddies to go, and it pops off, and it's like, oh, this feels really good. So that might be the case where it's gonna feel really good at low MMRs, but once you get like into high MMR lobbies, it just dies, and then it's like, well.
Yeah, like at high level, I could totally see this thing being like either you get chroma and then you're strong, or you don't get it and then you die.
I'm thinking this will be a Quillbore Dragon Naga lobby hero. That's my thoughts.
Yeah.
Because you open up the.
You can stay on like the strong thing with this hero. I think it's strong if you stay on 1, you proc, and then you on 8 gold level and dig your hero power. That's when I see it being strong.
Yeah.
If you can do that, then it's strong. But if you don't switch your hero by that point, then the hero is kind of pointless.
Yeah, being able to level for 7 gold and then hero power for 1, I think is if that's going to be the nuts situation, right? If you can get that to go.
Yeah.
And you'll also be able to
have
level to
chroma,
5
you
on
can
9
do
gold
it.
now.
Oh, are they reverting the level?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're reversing the thing.
Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, I get to play more tier 6 even though I do that so much anyways. It's gonna be so weird for me. I'm like, oh wow, I get 2 gold every time I level now. Like, oh man, okay, sweet. That's good for me. So
And you can double level to 5 again.
Yeah, that's a good point. I'm surprised they're reverting it. I mean,
it was a buddy based.
I know,
thing, right?
I know, but I was like, oh well, I can still level like pretty fine even without the buddy. Maybe it's gonna be too hard for other players. So that's fair. I like the change. It's good for me. So whatever. Yeah, any a bit weird. The other heroes, I'm not really.
I think Gale Wing is also kind of weird.
Nah, Gilling was only bad because of the buddy meter.
Yeah. I think Gilling is fine.
Before buddies,
Gale wasn't bad, by the way.
good.
Like,
No,
if we're on a
good.
3-on-3 meta again, Giling's good, right?
Yeah, 3-on-3 Gale Wing is the nuts.
Yeah, I wouldn't say Gilling would be bad. Like, I think it's just the buddy didn't help him, or until people figure out how to play.
They made tier 3 so much better because they remove Cold Light, and the new tier 3 Nagas are also good, and there is Amalgam.
Yeah.
I guess it makes sense.
Yeah. Okay, we can move on to tier 2 armor.
We got the question in chat that they made tier 5 more expensive just to block Bear off leveling twice. They didn't. They made leveling to 5 more expensive because people get extra gold for free with their buddies.
Yeah, the buddies gave you extra gold pretty much on almost every hero. It just allowed too much high rolling, where you can just like, oh, go to 4, go to 5, go to 6, like no problem, pretty much. But now since you don't get that extra gold with the buddies, it's more okay to revert the nerf. Okay, tier 2, 2 to 5 armor. Alakir, Phelan, Cthulhu, George, Jandis, Kurtrus, Malagos, Nazad, Patches, the Pirate, Finley, Akazamzarak, Lich King, Gallywix, Varden, and Zarella. Anything jump out to you? Any hero? Any Gallywix? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Jandis.
Why?
Jandis, I'm not as.
I'm very happy that Jandis gets armor, but I think if I'm playing Jandis, she should not get armor.
I'm okay. There's
I'm
only
okay
one
with
token. I'm
Janus, to
fine
be
with
fair.
it.
Yeah, it's the galley. Like this hero, when this hero pops off is so strong, and I don't like in giving it any safety.
Yeah. Yeah.
You want to risk it and die, or you pop off and win, because like the late game with this hero is so like this hero scales infinitely. It's not one of those heroes where like, oh, I popped off and now I get like this extra value for the remainder of the game. No, I just keep getting stronger. Like I don't stop getting stronger as the game keeps going. So it's one of those heroes where if you can just get through that rough early game, and the buddies did, like the Gallerix buddy really wasn't designed well, I would say, but like the buddy for Gallerix did that really well, where you just win the mid game, and I just don't understand. Like I do understand this is a hard hero to pilot. That's the one like caveat. But like
It's gonna get easier with spellcraft.
yeah, with
Like buying and selling a spellcraft minion just to get the extra effect is way cheaper on Gallywix. You're gonna have more rolls to get it, so you can get significantly more utility very easily on Gallywix.
Oh,
Yeah.
and then
That's
what's it called? The new flat tusk.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's insane.
and the 4-drop. It's like
Although I think Bran is still the best thing you can do on Galley.
yeah,
The
but
new
you can do
4-drop.
Brand and the flat tusk, because like you can
you
get
can
so
do it
much
all. You're
economy.
Gallywix.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't know.
Galley's gonna be the best hero. Strong.
Or
Probably, yeah.
Barov, or something.
Like day
Yeah.
one, Galley is the best, I think. And
Yeah,
later, Barov
when
gets better.
yeah, agreed.
Or Tess. Tess might be the best.
Nah, I don't
Yeah,
think that's
fair enough.
better than
This
Gallywix.
is also gonna
Probably
be
not.
insane.
Tess is gonna struggle with the gold spent, right? If the most significant thing you can do is get early Nagas, then Tess's gold investment into the hero power is a significant problem.
Yeah, I mean maybe in lower level lobbies Tess is better, but then the higher you go, the Galaxy is
Yeah.
it feels more.
I mean, also when you don't have Amalgadons, like right now, if you can be
That's true.
Gallywix, go
That's
infinite, and
true.
Tess just has 7 Amalgadons on board, and you die, right?
Yeah.
But like once stats become more relevant, then Gallywix I think becomes more pulling ahead of Tess, because Tess can't copy the hero power.
That's fair. That's fair. Anything else jump out to you in terms of like the heroes?
I think the rest is fine.
Yeah, I would say like maybe the rest could like there might be some that might want more armor. Like
Yeah.
Cthulhu,
Yeah.
I don't like this hero. Like, I don't think.
Cthulhu, I think would need more armor, but also Cthulhu's better at lower MMR, so I'm fine
Yeah,
with it.
yeah, sure.
I wouldn't mind seeing
Same
Lich
for
King with
Varden.
more armor. I don't know if it's just me, but I feel like the hero is unplayable. Now they
Lich
put
King?
Leroy
Well,
in.
Lich King with
Leroy.
Leroy, you know,
And
you
now
love
with
that.
Leroy, that's why I understand. But if there wasn't Leroy, for me, Lich King is basically Tamsin without Leroy.
Well, you can hero power Gas Coiler, and then Gas Coiler can get Leroy, and then another Leroy. It's like it's crazy.
Guess
Come on.
what? You can also just buy a Rattler, and then you have a better hero power, and you don't have the Lich King hero power, but you spend 2 gold.
Well, get
What?
this: you have a Leroy and a Gas Coiler. And then you hero
Okay, then we are going scam comp.
It
That's
doesn't
actually
stop.
gonna be so toxic. Oh my god, man! Like I have like a full board of like whatever, and it's just like Leroy. He just can't do anything.
Yeah.
Like you just have to have a coiler to deal with the Leroy, and then it's just like whose coiler spawns a Leroy.
Oh my god.
Is Varden okay with this little armor?
I think so. I think it's a hero that I don't want that to have too much armor.
That's fair.
Fair. That's
I
fair.
still think it's probably bad with this amount of armor, but I understand that if it gets more, it's not.
I mean,
I think the buddy was really important though for Varden. So
Yeah.
Yeah, but
I
we're
think-
also looking at a meta with like really strong 2 and 3 drops, and Varden can just like get
Copy
2
them.
of whatever
Oh,
it
yeah.
is, right?
double them.
yeah, if you get double
Don't, like-
lava lurkers, like, huh?
Varden to me feels like the better hero out of the ones that got released during the buddy time. I think he's
Yeah,
the only one
it's
that
the only one
seems
where I feel
playable.
like I would play without the buddy. Yeah.
Maybe
Phelan.
Phelan,
Yeah.
maybe.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
Phelan for
yeah,
sure.
Yeah, Phelan is insane.
Varden Phelan,
I'm
right?
a Phelan simp. I'm still.
Dude, Phelan, you just get a lava lurker turn 2.
Oh yeah,
Yep.
that's insane.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm all for that
That's
here.
nuts.
Yeah.
And then you can just donkey roll for the spellcraft on turn 3.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
seems solid. Double by spellcraft.
But yeah, like Varden, you just get, whatever it is. I think Varden, like the reason Varden feels like they need the buddy is because everybody else has buddies.
As a
But
buddy,
I think when,
yeah, okay.
yeah,
That's fair.
Yeah.
I can see it. Yeah. All right. Moving on. We've got tier 3, 3 to 6 armor. Brucon, Death Speaker, Blackthorn. I'm already questioning that one. Edwin, Maleficent, Ragnaros, Shudderwock, Silas, Tavish, Tess, Ticketus, and Yogg. Yogg, really? Okay. Wow.
Brucon, really?
Yeah.
Khan and Tavish, I feel like those heroes are unplayable.
Yeah, same.
Exactly.
They do not feel good at all.
Yeah. Yeah. The
Whereas
heroes.
Yogg, I mean,
Yeah, I
Even
agree.
Maleficent.
I play so much Yogg. Like, so I'm like, Yogg with armor? What? What? Like, I don't understand this one, but that's gonna get changed after they see me play Yogg. But it's fine. Brucon, the heroes that were released with buddies, I really feel like they were very much designed around their buddies. So I don't really understand them not getting that much armor. Like, I mean, Brucon
I don't
maybe.
understand them not getting removed, honestly.
Yeah, that's fair. That's more true. I don't. Why aren't they getting removed? Isn't Buddy Less Brucon just OG Patches? Oh, Patches' hero power used to deal like 2 to 3 minions or something. Or
I
like,
think it
It
was
dealt
4
4 to 2.
damage
Dealt 4 to 2,
2 minions.
yeah.
4 to 2, yeah.
But I mean, that also cost 1. This is
Yeah,
costing
costing
0.
Yeah.
Like, this definitely does something, but that doesn't mean it does anything, like, useful.
I mean, the
Yeah.
flexibility of the death
Yeah.
rattle is potentially useful.
Yeah, in Avenge or something. Like,
Yeah.
Brucon might be playable.
But
Yeah.
not
Brucon is
in a 3 to 6
Better than
armor
Lich
range, I
King,
think.
right?
But Tavish, like, no.
Yeah, Tavish does nothing.
I mean, it's
Tavish literally doesn't have a
okay.
hero power.
You deal 5 or 6 damage to something.
It doesn't do anything.
I guess.
Like, he can pop a divine shield at best.
Yeah. maybe.
Brucan pops all the shields.
Oh! You kill Leroy. It's genius. You just shoot low. You
Ooh.
kill Leroy.
Shoot low. Oh, that's actually true.
Yeah.
But that's like, you're at the
Yeah.
point in the game where people are Leroying you. Like, I feel like good luck getting there as Tavish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tavish nuts.
Yeah.
Like, you're not going to have any minions worth Leroying. Your
No, I
force
mean
is gonna-
everyone's Nagas. It's fine. You'll have a lava lurker. It's fine. Copium.
You get the low shit and you're fine.
Do you die if you kill Leroy with your hair about hat? That's actually funny.
Probably.
It says
That would
destroy
be
the minion. It doesn't say destroy the minion / hero. It's fine. We live. Yeah.
Unlucky.
That would be so troll. I would be so annoyed. Holy shit.
It wouldn't
would
really
be like,
affect how much I
Geraxus
picked
with
Tavish, though.
sacrificial pacts.
Yeah, unpickable at that point. I would just be like, no, I'm never playing this.
It's already unpickable. Doesn't really make a difference.
It's already unpickable.
Yeah, I do think Blackthorn probably could. It's probably going to be better than they think, right? And might not need armor.
Yeah.
I like 3 to 6 on Blackthorn, honestly.
Not with
yeah.
Nagas.
I could see him 2 to 5.
I could,
Zero,
yeah.
A bit rough.
Yeah, 2 to 5 is probably fine.
Yeah, 2 to 5 is probably where I would lead. Same thing with Yogg. I mean, Yogg.
I mean, but
think
then you're looking at
Yogg
a
is-
difference of 1 armor. It's pretty insignificant, to be honest.
Okay, that's.
I think
that's
Yogg
fair.
is not gonna be that good because Yogg
Nah.
is not good at forcing stuff. So you can't really double buy Nagas even if you have 2 in your shop.
If you
I mean-
can't, no. If you can't force stuff with Yogg, you're just not aiming well.
Yeah, there
That's
you
a skill
go.
problem.
There you go. I see my young buddy fanatics here. Yeah. Whew. But I mean, I'm still gonna play this hero, so I think I'll find a way. You know, I've been playing Yogg since the game came out, so whatever.
Yeah.
But everything else, I mean, Ticket is probably okay. Silas
Ticketus
probably
also gets
okay. Shudder.
spells. Like the prizes are spell. So he gets a little buff.
Ooh.
And you can get the spell that gives you coin, and then you get 2 more spells on top of that.
Oh yeah, I guess Ticketus is gonna be a little bit better than normal. Yeah, I don't think Ragnos has recovered from the Acolyte nerf, so I don't think it's
Yeah,
gonna
he
be that
hasn't.
good. Yeah,
I mean, who's
Yeah.
gonna be buying Ikiums now?
that's true. What's the point?
I mean, who was buying Ikims in last meta?
Yeah.
Only the clueless people.
No, but like Eni was buying Ikiums.
I
that kind of
sometimes
stuff.
bought it.
I get.
Like some people buy Weavers and then they buy Ikiums and then it's reasonable. Like if I was
Yeah,
playing
but-
Rag with buddies, it was when demons were in and
Yeah,
I was just praying
yeah,
to
that-
face someone with an Ikiimp early, right?
That was my
But the
secret
thing
too.
about Imp is that you boosted your opponent meter so much. It was crazy.
Whatever. I don't care. As long as I get mine on time.
Yeah.
I feel you. As long as I got mine on time, I agree. But yeah.
Also, wait, Silas though. Like Silas's discovers are spells.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's a good
yeah,
point.
but like you're not gonna buy all the tickets anymore.
I mean, no. I mean, in the early game, you kind of do, right?
Yeah, in the early game you do for sure.
And
Like in the mid game, it's not like you get a spell every turn.
unless you
But I mean,
want
you're
to.
gonna go like Silas has always been like a power level hero pre buddies.
Yeah.
You can go
you
3
got
on
to
3,
fight
4 on
right
4.
away.
I mean, it's probably a good meta for Silas.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's probably fine. We'll
Yeah.
figure it out. I don't wanna think about it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I feel
it's
you.
fine.
Let's not think
It's
about
fine.
it. Tier 4.
Wait.
What?
Sorry.
47 armor. We've got Deathwing, Brand, Galakron, Grable, Kalthos, Mukla, Nozdormu, Reno, Sindragosa, and Zephyrus. Interesting. Why does Mukla? Mukla seems like it's gonna be good
I
in
mean,
this.
why does
meta.
Bran get
Bran. Yeah, what is that? Actually, what is that?
Yeah,
That seems
Especially with the
insane.
new coin battle cry.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah. Brand seems like it's gonna be really good this meta. So it's interesting that it has 47 armor. That's a lot.
7
Reno
armor
also-
Bran is so keck W.
And also Reno, like Reno on 7 armor with bodies out, it's insane.
Yeah, Reno did not like the buddy meta. I'll be honest. Like some people find like it meant like you had to like force Baron Buster. Like that's the only brand comps I
Yeah.
saw doing well, or they got like an early Noni or whatever. But like all the
Or
people
like
that
some croc combos were also good with the body.
yeah
Like you could play Golden Body and then have like double croc or grok coiler in the back, and that was really good tempo. That was it.
Yeah, turn 3 golden lava lurker GG.
yeah that's gonna happen.
I don't know if Golden Lava Lurker is that good.
Nah,
Like
it's
sure,
gonna
if
be.
you have 2 spells every turn, then it's good.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
just
you-
get the golden lava lurker. You start rolling for spells on 2.
Yeah, you need the spells.
Yeah.
Should be.
And
Some.
then
Or like
you
you
roll
have
more lava
the
lurker.
1/3 that you bought, and then you just roll 2 times for lava lurker.
Yeah, I guess.
And like you also hear power, you got a 410 on
Or
turn 3. Like
yeah, you
wow.
always win.
Yeah, actually, I was making golden road boards when Quillboards came out. Yeah, actually, I can see that.
Yeah, but that was
That
a
wasn't
misplay. And this
like it
time
was
it's
that
Damn, brutal. All right, I hear you. Any other heroes? I mean, I think the rest are generally fine.
I think Nods is gonna be good. Nods is really good at forcing
yeah.
stuff.
yeah.
Yeah,
Nos
no,
is pretty
yeah,
free.
yeah. Nos seems pretty powerful. Free
And also
gold.
Mukla with the bananas.
Yeah.
But the
I
thing
think Mukla on tier 4 is a bit keck W as well. That's
The thing
Well,
is,
the thing
you give
about-
banana to the others.
yeah,
too.
Yeah.
That's the one.
Like you enable everybody else to buy spell synergy cards.
Not that
So,
they
like,
weren't
you're-
doing that before, but yeah. I feel
No, but
you.
like you enable them to
Yeah.
buy it and like actually activate them immediately.
Yeah. I mean, but what is that like? What synergies are actually there, right? We have
There is the snail, the 4-drop, and the 6-drop.
the snail,
it.
yeah, the
And the-
snail,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
4-drop. Yeah, and the 6-drop, yeah. So a couple of them. The corrupted, the 5-drop doubler. It's like with Mukla. It's like, yeah, okay. But yeah, I guess it's basically the snail. Everyone can play the snail if Mukla's in the lobby.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a bit scary. It might mean that you could roll on 2 if there's a Mukla, right? Because then if you hit that, it's like, oh,
But like the upside for playing Mukla is that the 4-drop is really, really good on your hero. It gets +2/+2 every turn for free.
I mean, it's the same as Peggy was.
what is going
Yeah,
on
but
here?
for Peggy you need to have another pirate. This you can just buy it by itself.
Yeah, that's true.
Although Peggy's also triggers for every card you buy, so there's an argument
Yeah.
for both. Like it's basically just another Peggy, which is not bad at all.
Yeah, but I still don't think, because like Mukla, like usually the way I see it is like when cards are good, a hero like Mukla isn't as good, right? And we're gonna be in a meta where I think finding cards is gonna be the most relevant thing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's true.
yeah. I guess it's fine in the armor. It is like it's not like a. It's not like a flashing crazy signs.
Yeah, I don't think that's a problem. Like I think we're also used to Mukla with his buddy,
With his
which is
buddy,
very
yeah.
strong.
Yeah.
Without the buddy, Mukla goes back to being a pretty like just like some okay tempo, right?
Yeah.
Tier
It doesn't get the
5.
triple for free anymore.
Also, Zephyrus might be a bit spooky, but we'll
Yeah,
see.
I agree. I'm always a Zephyrus fan. So
Yeah, but there are not that many good golden Naga, right? Because most
What?
of them, even if they're golden, they do the same thing, like all the
Yeah.
spellcraft.
The big one is the Siren, but
Siren, Lava Lurker. Yeah.
Yeah, that's not that many.
Maybe you'd rather sometimes you might rather have 2 lava lurkers, but I don't know. Maybe the triple is just good.
They're kind of similar. And you get the Discover, so it's probably fine.
Yeah.
For tier 5s, 5 to 8 armor, we have Alexstrasza, Arana, Eudora, Illidan, Lord Jiraxis, Bigglesworth, Onyxia, Patchwork, Rokara, Sky Captain Crag, and Yasurat. Why is Arana here? Like this was one of the worst heroes before buddies, and it's only the buddy that made Arana playable.
yeah.
I don't understand why this is here.
Like, at least none of these have too much, right?
Yeah.
None of these heroes have too much armor.
Yeah,
which is
I guess
good.
that's true.
One thing is Alex, right?
Yeah,
They
they buffed
moved
Alex.
this-
Yeah.
Yeah.
They changed the odds for Caligos, and they're still changed. So you
Yeah.
can, like, 1 out of 4 time high roll a Caligos and win the lobby.
Yeah,
You
and
win
with
a
extra
lobby with
armor,
a
that's
single
gonna be
Cali?
nice.
I think it's like 22% or 23%.
Yeah, but do you win a
Cali.
lobby with a single Cali?
Well,
No.
you level.
I
you
mean,
get
then
double
you
Cali.
go to 6 eventually. Like, you get it so early. You have a full dragon board. Like, Alex, once it pops off, it's unstoppable.
But there's also no
Very good
Amalgadon to
for you.
discover off the hero power. That's
True.
Just
Yeah.
the odds.
But
The odds
discovering
changed,
Amalgadon
right?
was not that good most of the times.
Yeah.
yeah, that's true. But I mean, it was still like
You can
It's so
discover
big.
Amalgam.
This would be
You can
a
get
huge
Amalgam.
buff if buddies were still in. You're like, oh, I go to 6. It's always Cali. I never get the faltered if I level with a 6 for play the buddy. Yeah, so yeah. But yeah, I mean, with the increased odds, Alec could be really powerful, especially with the armor, so that you get to level riskier, and also the reverting the leveling to 5 is also a big buff for Alex Strasza. So I actually think Alex probably has a good time in this meta, since it's easier to level to 5 as well. So.
Maybe not immediately, but after Nagas get toned down a little bit, for sure.
Yeah. After Nagas get nerfed. Yeah. Onyxia. Why does this thing have? Why isn't this thing 10 armor? I don't understand.
Honestly, I was expecting for Nyxia that they would at least made the whelp like 3 ones or 4 ones. And they didn't do anything.
I mean, they might later,
why
right?
is this a hero? Like, why is this a hero? It doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
Why would I play this over
anything? Yeah.
what's it called? Deathwing. I don't know.
Yeah. Bit rough.
I mean, you get Avenge procs, right? Like that's what it's supposed to be.
Yeah, but it never recovered from Acolyte nerf. That's the
Yeah,
problem.
that's true.
Yeah.
These heroes are just really hard to play now.
But also, I feel like Onyxia without buddy meter causing everybody to tempo into you early might be better. I don't
But it
know.
also means you don't need a tempo, so you don't need to buy 4 units either. So you might not even get this thing to proc up a whelp until like turn 5 or something. Or you're just like, if you level to 3 and you're just like, well, I have 2 minions and I have 3, and then it's like, okay, now I proc it. So it's just a hero that doesn't really make sense right now, especially without buddies, without Acolyte. There's no real reason. to play it.
Yeah, this one can. Like, it has something, but I think it definitely can fall into the category of needs 10 armor to be playable.
I don't even know if I'd play with 10 armor.
I wouldn't play it even with 10 armor.
I agree. All the heroes with 10
definitely
armor.
Worse. There's definitely worse.
The 10 armor tag is delete tag. Like delete this hero. It doesn't. Why it like 10 armor is not saving it, especially without buddies or any way to like make up for the unplayable hero power. So yeah, I don't know.
Also, I think this is the first time that Jaraxxus gets armor. That's pretty cool.
Oh yeah.
I don't think it ever got any armor up until this point.
Which is weird. Same thing with Illidan. Why does Illidan have armor? It was like literally bottom 5 before the buddies came in. Same thing with Arana. It was like it's because of their like the buddies have like warped their perspective on these heroes. And it's like oh yeah.
At least Illidan, if you survive in the late game, the hero power is the nuts. So if you give him armor, it's a hero that I could actually see myself picking. Because the hero power does
going
something.
first every time.
Yeah, but like all the other heroes with like 10 armor, they're all unplayable compared to Illidan. Spoilers. Like Illidan at least does something, right?
Yeah.
It does it for free.
At least you have some early game tempo. You get to attack, I guess, and then you always go first, which sometimes is relevant. So maybe I don't know. It's not a crazy hero, but maybe it's fine to give it 5 to 8. Nothing else really.
Having 10 armor as well, but like I think it's okay.
Okay, sure.
Then Krag and Bigglesworth are also interesting.
Bigglesworth with armor, we've seen it, right? Can be really good, but you can also just falter. Like if no one dies before you, it still happens. So it probably still will happen if you have no hero power until someone dies. Right?
Or if there is a paid actor in the lobby, it's like the worst.
Yeah, and Sky Captain Krag. I mean,
out of these heroes, these are the only I would pick. Like Alex, Bigglesworth, and Krag. The others I wouldn't pick.
I'd pick Alex, Eudora, Bigglesworth.
I'm a Eudora hater.
I mean, I think Eudora definitely suffered from everybody playing the maximum possible tempo early, right? And now it's not going to be happening.
I guess.
I'd play Eudora. I don't know if I'd play Krag, but yeah, it's interesting. There's no red flags here for me. Tier 6, 6 and
Alex.
Yeah, except Alex. That's true. Except Alex, maybe. Like I have to play 2 games with Alex and I'll know, but I can't tell immediately. But it's probably true that it needs to be like maybe a little bit nerfed in terms of armor. Tier 6, 6 to 9 armor. We have Cariel, Shambhala, Elise, Toki, Soulfang, Wagtoggle, Rakinishu, Tasman, Curator, and Rat King. Any thoughts here?
The only one I will play is Elise.
Who will I play?
I think Tamsin is significantly better than everything else in this tier. Just because it's a 0 gold hero power.
0 gold buddy.
Yeah.
Curator seems okay.
Curator seems okay, yeah. I agree.
if what you want to be doing is going 3-on-3 and getting amalgams, like your 3-on-3 already have 1, so now you can get 2 more, or like just right. You can build into that kind of thing.
I also remember when Nightmare Amalgam was in, like Curator was actually extremely good because you could play Menadri super easily. With
To be
this.
fair, there were 24 heroes at the time.
Yeah, okay. That's
It
Yeah,
was
fair.
literally
The amalgam is a 2/2 now, right? So it's like so
Yeah,
much
it used
better.
to be a 1/1. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. There's other benefits. But yeah, I see what you're saying. That might not be a matter. The others are hard to play.
3-on-3 Curator seems really good.
Yeah, I mean, I
Yeah.
used to actually like that. Like pre-buddies, I actually liked Curator in certain lobbies. Just go 3-on-3. And I think that's gonna come back.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
you win turn 1 and turn 2, and then you lose turn 3, and then you win again.
Then you win again.
So-
Yeah. Seems okay.
Especially with that much armor. Like,
Yeah. With that
Yeah, that's a lot
armor,
of armor.
yeah, I can see it for sure. And then maybe
The
Elise.
reason why I like Elise is just because with the maps you can force the
Enforce
Nagas
things,
really easily.
yeah. And there's things to get on every map. 2 map you have something to look
Yeah.
for. 3 map you have something to look for. 4 map you have. So I do think
and their
Elise.
spells.
And their spells. That's a good point. Yeah. So I can see Elise getting changed actually. Curator, I think is probably like no one's gonna care.
I mean,
Like-
more than changing Elite, they can just nerf Nagas and then it's gonna be unplayable again.
That's true. That's true as well. You have a lot of levers for this one here. But yeah, I'm not. The rest of them, I don't really see me playing them. And then we have the unplayable tier 7. You know, we've
There's
got.
one gem.
Yeah.
Oh wait, AFK is there. That one's fine.
No.
Right.
No.
Rektar.
Which pass?
Lich Bazal. Oh yeah. Lich Bazal. This Bazal is probably really good, right? Yeah.
That's really good.
Yeah.
It's spells and it's gold.
Oh,
my
you get
God.
a spell. Oh my god, that's so true. Holy moly, yeah. This
Well,
might not
I
even
am-
need 10 armor.
I am gonna hero power till 2.
Yeah.
Till I'm at 2.
Till I'm 2. Yeah. You're right. That's a good catch, Soren. That's a really good catch. Yeah. I'm playing that. You're absolutely
It's
right.
gonna be good. It's gonna be good.
The rest of these is blah.
Maybe you can hero power 5s and get Leroy. Oh.
I'm not a fan. Maybe AFK though. I might see. But other than that,
AFK with the Nagas? There's a lot of good Nagas on 3, so I can see AFK being okay.
yeah. The rest of them, no, I'm not really touching.
Yeah, I mean,
them.
tier 3 got better, so maybe.
Yeah. So those are the 2 I'm looking at here. But it's funny, right? These, I mean, Lich Bazal is like way better than some of the other ones in the other tiers. So kind of weird, but I understand it with the hero power. It's with the hero itself, like the way it functions. It's
I mean,
probably
it really feels like she should just be buffed to dealing 1 damage, and then she doesn't need all the armor.
Yeah,
That would be
I mean, but that would be insane. That would be insane.
I think
though.
that's too good.
Yeah, that's
That would be
insane.
too good,
Yeah,
for sure.
I think that's a bit too much.
Like 0 armor Lich B dealing 1 to herself seems broken. Because like you basically would just be able to hero power for the entire game.
Yeah, and Sneed cannot hero power Leroy to get another Leroy. That
Compared
doesn't
to
work.
7 armor, you tap every turn, right? Normally, 2 damage. So if you start at 7 armor,
You get 3 and
turn
a half.
7, turn 7. That's already the difference, right? Between no armor 1 damage and armor 2 damage.
So then after
Yeah,
turn
it's
7, you're
strong.
profiting.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
it's just better
Like,
after
after
turn
turn 7, it gets slightly better, right?
It's noticeable, I would
Yeah,
say.
it would be too strong. I
That's
think.
every game you would notice it, pretty much.
I feel like 1 damage is like taking 1 damage feels like pretty
Pretty
insignificant.
free. Yeah. I would. There are some turns I don't tap right nowadays, but if it's 1, I'm always tapping until I'm at 1. You know, so I think
Especially
that
because,
does
like,
change things.
On average, a game lasts until at least turn 11, like turn 10, turn 11. So if you make it only 1 damage, like it's like she has 11 armor every game.
Yeah,
That's too good.
you're
Too good.
basically giving her more armor. Like it's
Yeah.
not even a nerf. You're buffing her by giving her more armor if you do that change. Even if you give her 0 armor, it's actually just a buff. You end up giving her like 15 or 20 or depending on how long the game is, but like you end up giving her even more armor, which is a bit weird. So not okay with that change, but yeah.
And it's also like if she is too strong, you can just tune down the armor, right? And that's
Yeah,
fine. But
yeah.
I think this is fine. This is a hero where it's like without armor, it is too weak.
Yeah.
And then
So,
with armor, it can be a good hero. But
Yeah.
if it's too good, yeah, like that's
Yeah.
fine.
yeah, I'm okay with it. We'll just have to see if it's like broken with Nagas, right? And then we'll see if Nagas get changed or if she needs an adjustment. So yeah. And then we have
Like, also my
mercenary
experience-
updates. Kick
Oh,
W.
yeah.
No, I'm kidding.
Kick W.
I'm just kidding.
Heck W.
What if Blizzard allowed us to see Bob's store and then choose the hero? Yeah, I would have been okay with that. Just be like, sometimes, there's a Valkyrie in the shop. Brand's pretty good. Oh, there's a demon in the shop. Jiraxis. Okay, I'm not picking Jiraxis.
I mean, I will pick Jiraxus.
Like, oh, my shop sucks. That's normal.
Double Trickster. Oh, yeah, I guess I picked Jiraxus.
Okay, double trickster is different. Like, hey, that's a different.
Why
experience.
is Trickster still in the game, man?
Who knows?
Oh,
Who knows why it's still in the game? But it is. And
it's okay though. Champion's gone.
I don't understand the champion removal. Like, I thought they were removing either Prester or Gem Splitter. Those are the two I was looking at. Where I think
I was looking at Coiler, honestly.
Spoiler
Yeah, because of Leroy.
because of Leroy.
Put back my ex now.
That would be so troll.
We went full circle. You're next. We want my accents back. I think
I'm
Mantis
okay with
Queen
them
is like trying to
removing
replace
the-
that.
Yeah, I'm okay with them removing weak card though, because like even
But
though
is champion
Trickster
weak,
too
though?
strong sometimes. I mean, it's like average, right? It's never like something that you get and you're like, oh, let's go. Like it's not Gem Splitter, this kind of cards, right?
I've seen people
So
win
I'd
with
rather have
champions.
more playable cards, so I have more option instead of having bad cards that I have to skip most of the times.
Buff Whelp Dragon. Make
Yeah,
it
that
it deal 1 base instead of 0 base. Like, I think it's such an easy change. Like and then it ties with so many more things and not useless. Like, I don't
But
know.
during Buddy Meta, there would have been the most toxic change ever.
It would have. That's true.
You just remove that card. It's so annoying.
Yeah, I wouldn't. mind
Whenever
that
I
either.
see it, it's just annoying, right? It's either in my shop being a bad unit or it's on my opponent's board just griefing me. Like, either way, I just hate it.
I mean, I have so many games where like it's turn 2 and you have seen like 5 whelps
5
already
whelps,
in the
yeah.
shop, and you're like, what am I doing? How am I supposed to play?
Yeah, I've been there for sure. It's not fun.
Have your hands.
Very, very, very true. All right. I think
Collins, am I allowed to ban people who say Prester is needed?
yes, ban whoever you want. If you're not modded, I'll mod everybody. But I'm pretty sure everyone's here is modded. So. I have a mod have full, control in this chat here. Like, you can ban whoever you like. Yeah. You know what? I'll do it for you.
Oh no, it's gone. Poor Presto enjoyers.
Yeah, we don't tell you don't say, hey, that's okay, no pressures for you. But yeah, like our last kind of discussion is like just a meta hero discussion. Now that we've talked about armor. And I'm just I'm moving on. I'm done.
Poor lad, man.
But yeah, any thoughts on how the meta is going to change without buddies with the armor discussion? Any heroes you think are going to be secret OP, secret good, secret weak, all that stuff?
I'm
I think
kind of.
my pocket picks are gonna be Nods and Elise for sure.
Oz and Elise.
Jandis.
Yeah, just
Jandis.
force Nagas. Go ahead.
I'm
if
not.
you break, you top 8 really fast, so you can go to the next one.
I don't know. I'm not a big Janice enjoyer. Shady definitely was like, oh yeah, Janice every time I see it, and I'm just like, oh.
You can swap the Divine Shield spellcraft now.
Yeah, that's not that good.
I mean, for endgame, like, just you get the extra shield. I don't know. Like, not
Yeah,
that's not like something you would do at the
endgame
beginning of
is
the game,
always
right?
nuts.
But I'm just
Endgame
saying, like,
Janice is always
yeah.
nuts, right?
But I'm just saying, there's also just like generally you can swap spellcraft, which can be okay. You have the coin thing, which like if you don't have Alley Cat, you can just swap the coin and get
I
some
don't
econ
think
that way.
Jandis work that well with the Nagas though. I don't see like any really strong synergy within the tribe with the Jandis. Maybe I'm missing something.
Yeah, that's how I feel. Like, there's, I don't know. Like, if beasts are in, obviously, then it's still playable. But I don't know. I also, yeah, George and Naga Kobor. It seems so
Oh,
strong.
Jesus,
my God,
dude.
yeah, I don't know.
But that's insane. That's
Yeah.
disgusting.
It's like Shaker, but actually permanent. Oh
Yeah.
god. Like,
Alright.
because remember, like, you could get copium combat scaling with a Peggy and a splitter, but now you can get perma scaling with that.
Yeah.
George's gonna be
That's
playable,
too strong.
and George has 5 armor.
Oh my god.
Seems balanced. Yeah.
Although I don't know, because like there seems to be a lot more big stats comps. I think big stats are gonna be more relevant than divine shields. So it's
You're
gonna be
saying
easier to
outpace
counter
the
George.
divine shields.
Yeah, especially because there is Leroy. Like divine shields, they usually have 1 or 2 big minions. So with Leroy, you just wreck them.
Oh.
It's really hard to scale a full board of shields.
Ooh, this is cool. There's developer insights on battleground balance. Wow, that's really cool. They never do that. What? Okay. I want to take a look at that. I guess I could put it in the Discord as well.
Yeah, maybe you just read it out loud if it's not too annoying, and then we commentate.
Sure, I can do that too. Yes, I can do that. I'll try. I have to move it. Imagine me reading.
Oh wait, they shared the
Yeah.
percentages.
Yeah. I know. There's a lot of cool stuff in there. A lot of cool stuff in there. The following is being posted on behalf of John McIntyre. I don't know how to pronounce his name. Sorry. McIntyre. That sounds way better than what I said. Yeah, Hearthstone Battleground lead designer. Hello, Tavern Girls. As we wrap up the current Battlegrounds Buddies patch and prepare for the upcoming Rise of the Naga Battleground session, I want to share some data from this past patch and explain some of our design philosophies. We've been asking for this. Perfect. When it comes to designing and balancing heroes. First, let's look at the overall active player MMR distribution right now. The top 50% of players have reached 5,700 MMR. The top 25 have reached 6,500 MMR. And the top 10 have reached 7,000. And congratulations to the top 1% who have reached 8,300. So that's interesting. So top 1% is 8,000.
It used to be 8,000. Now it's 8,300. So it's going up.
Slightly, but that's not that much. It's going up, right? Like only 300 MMR
right?
in like a year. Like, that's
It's
not
just
a lot.
end of the season, right? End of the season, it goes up.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah, so it's kind of interesting, right? You like at least as a streamer, I get all these comments like, "Oh, dude, I'm in your lobby," but I'm like 8,000. Like, yeah, it's like top 1%, dude. Like, it's like, yeah. For here are the stats, right? Like, it's really impressive to be 8,000 MMR, even though like sometimes you're comparing yourself with streamers that are like 14, 15, 17K. That's like one guy. but yeah, I mean, it's quite impressive to reach even 8, 9K MMR. That's really, really good. So it's kind of interesting just to have that data there, like confirmed. And this is end of the season, right? At the beginning of the season, it's going to be much lower. So kind of cool. I also want to share the top 10. Well, the top there's a exclamation mark. I don't know what that means, but like top 10 performing heroes from all players since the last balance patch in alphabetical order. So we have Cario. This is a big Bofur hero. Shambhala, yes, dude. People are telling me Shambhala is bad. I'm always like, nah, it's not. Flurgo makes sense. George the Fallen, Inni, Stormcall. They must be using like all MMR.
Yeah, it says all
Yeah,
players.
the top
Oh,
part is
okay.
all more.
Okay. That makes sense. Lord Jirax's Maleficent Mana Storm Patches the Pirate Tavish? Tavish, wow. That one's
Yeah,
surprising.
they just forced Karagosa probably.
Yeah, I guess that's true. And then Ysera. Okay.
So coming back to your
Kinda
your
weird that you
Shinvala,
were so
Oh, this is all
Colin,
players.
you
I
were
see.
surprised by Ini, but you read Cariel like it was the best year.
Well, it's because I see Bofur playing Carriel all the time, and he just wins with the hero. So I'm not like surprised. I guess that may be me. That's fair. That's fair. All right, and this is all heroes, all players. Okay, there's difference. So let's compare this list to the top 10 heroes for our top 1% during the same period in alphabetical order. Arana, yeah, makes sense. Flurgo makes sense. George, yeah, makes sense. Mukla, that's all me, guys. Maiev,
no one else was willing to play him anymore.
yeah. Maiev, Shadowsong, Sir Finley, Mutinous, Gallywix, Vol'jin, Zephyrs. All of this makes sense. Every single hero here makes sense to me. Anything jump out of you here?
No.
No, yeah, I
Me
can.
is George, but at 8K for sure, George is the nuts. And also in general, if you find a gem splitter, anybody can win with George.
Yeah,
Yeah.
George is
Yeah.
good.
Yeah,
I don't
like-
know.
And
Yeah.
even if you don't, right? Even
You have
if
your
you
buddy.
don't, you just put shields on stuff. You get your buddy. You get the attack. You're not gonna win a lobby, but you're also not gonna do terribly.
Yeah.
So
And-
like you're not
Yeah, if you don't
as a
get
base,
gold-
you're not doing badly, and then you find splitter, you just insta win.
I think in this buddy meta, people weren't like willing to like spend the gold to buy ghouls. I saw this so many times where I'm just like, okay, you could buy a ghoul, and then they're more focused on their own comp than countering your comp.
Wait,
So-
wait, but that's on an A, right?
yeah, and well, yes,
And A
yeah.
players don't buy ghouls. That's a known fact.
On an A, yes, I will throw that in there. Yes, in an A. I was noticing that people don't buy ghouls, in an A for sure. But
I remember watching Wobble Wheezy when he was climbing on you, and he was complaining like everybody buys Ghoul. What is this? He wasn't even playing George, but he was still complaining. It was funny.
yeah, so that's fair. I do notice that in NA. Yeah, people don't buy ghouls, but yeah, for sure. So I can definitely understand it. All this makes sense to me. One of the reasons I am sharing this information is to show that there aren't universal hero rankings that apply to all hero players. Heroes perform differently depending on player skill and engagement with the mode. A lot of people find success with minion type focused heroes because they provide a clear direction. I agree. But those same heroes don't perform as well for our most competitive players. Very true. Even two players of the same skill level will find success with different heroes because they push different playstyles. That's also true. The takeaway here, let's read this, is that players shouldn't feel obligated to pick only the heroes that work for the top 1% of players. Is that the takeaway? I mean,
Depends on their goal.
yeah, yeah, and it depends if you are the top 1% of players, but should instead experiment with different heroes to see what performs best with their skill bracket, level of engagement with the game, and play style. Which I do generally agree with this, right? A lot of times people are asking me, "Oh, what hero should I play? What should I learn?" And I always just say, like, play comfort. Like, if you're trying to climb, like, actually just play the heroes you feel you're comfortable with or good at, statistically, because you might not play the same as like some random high MMR player. You might not do exactly what they do, right? And they have different skill sets, and even top level players differ with heroes. Like, there's a Janice enjoyer in this chat, and I'm not that guy. It's like even at the highest level, people have different play styles and preferences. So you just have to get good with what you know and what you're comfortable with, and then like try to refine the small like technical mistakes a lot of the times, and then like improve your own play style if you want to climb. Pretty much know when.
You were saying that should the top 1% look at what's best the top 1%, but like that would mean I'm effectively tuning my play to what the best 8K players are doing, and I'm not doing that either. Right?
Yeah, do whatever you want is what I always say. That's my
like,
but no one likes that advice.
The top 1% shouldn't care about the data from the top 1%.
Top 1% should like know.
Yeah, it's sometimes good of a reference if you aren't like playing all the time. But yeah, usually if you're good enough and you're top 1%, you don't need the stats. Like a lot of times I'll look at like HS replay stats and I'll just like not agree with it, and I'm just like whatever, like who cares, you know. But it's still good sometimes just to know, oh, if you're not like super sure on things and you don't care about the heroes, you don't have a preference, just be like, oh yeah, well, everyone else seems to do well with this hero here, so I'll just pick it. But generally, if you know what you're doing, you don't need it, especially if you know the hero, so that's fair. All right, moving on. One of the goals with hero balance is to keep hero diversity high by making sure that heroes are kept in an appropriate band of power. So they don't want to balance everything, but they want a band of power, like a range that fits their criteria. We look at all skill levels when trying to identify which hero needs a nerf or a buff. Yeah, this is where like high MMR players would like, groan at this statement, but it's fine. That's why we sometimes adjust a hero that is over/ or underperforming for new players, even if those same issues aren't seen by our most competitive players. Yeah. We see this a lot. I mean, a lot of
we know this.
If you're a competitive player, you know this already. Like a lot of the buffs, sometimes when you're looking at it from a competitive angle, just don't really make sense. But I always have to remind myself that they're most likely looking at this from a overarching all player standpoint, and then I can put it into context. But usually, like from a competitive standpoint, I'm always like, this doesn't make sense here. And even though they do this, this isn't always great, because there are some heroes that just do awful on average, but are amazing if you're decent at the game, and they just never get touched because on average though these are horrible, but like once you pass like some competitive level or something, they just become so dominant. And you can see that with like Galliwix and stuff like that, where on average people do horrible with Galliwix. Like this hero is really bad on average, but like you see at the highest levels how strong the hero can be, but it just doesn't get touched. It gets armor in the patches because it's just like, our across all skill levels, this hero is pretty bad, and it just feels weird as a competitive player to just like say, yeah, I guess that's fine, but you can see the context at least of where they're coming from, even if you don't agree with it. With this in mind, what happens if a hero is too weak for one group of players but can't be buffed because then it'll be too strong for other players? That's basically like Jirax's, if you want like a technical example. Jirax's in the competitive level is too weak for us, but you can't really buff Jirax's because at lower MMRs, Jirax is just very dominant. This was a design challenge we faced with Shutterwalk, so they're giving us another example. This is we faced with Shutterwalk after the launch of Buddies. Shutterwalk repeats all the battle cries you've triggered this game. Most player strategies with this hero is to buy lots of battle cry minions. Stupid. I'm sorry. And then use their hero power as late as possible to copy a bunch of battle cry effects. However, top players use the different strategies. They mostly buy battle cry minions that summon other minions, so they bought tokens. Then they repeat those effects with the hero power for triple rewards. So you buy tokens and then you use your hero power to triple the tokens. That strategy was harder to execute. Not really. Let's be honest. but more powerful.
Arguably easier.
Yeah,
because you
arguably
die
easier.
If you do the other thing.
Yeah, arguably easier. You just needed to know that this strategy existed. It's not that the strategy was harder. It's just that you have to know. You need the knowledge to understand that you can do this and not be punished and be rewarded. So it's more of a knowledge gap than a execution gap. So
I mean, I think at high level, like because you would go down really low in health.
Yeah.
And so like you might get strong, but you need to play it well from the
Afterwards,
point
I
of
see.
spiking to
Yeah.
not die.
Yeah, that's true. You need to know what you're doing with the triples. That's a good point as well. So that might make it. Yeah, buy Eliza.
Okay, done.
Okay, not all of us are so skilled, okay?
Oh my god, yeah, for sure. Shutterwalk needed a buff for the majority of players, but we didn't want our changes to have a large impact on top players. Our design change was the buddy to give +2/+2 to Battlecry minions. It adds to the shop. This helps keep players alive when they're buying many different types of Battlecry minions, but didn't have as large of an impact for the players looking to buy one or two specific Battlecry minions. All right, I mean, okay, there's not too much left before I have something to say there. I hope this example helps show how, even though not all individual balance changes are for every player, we do balance for every player. As a final note, nerfs are a higher priority than buffs, because a hero being too strong warps games more than a hero being too weak. All right. With Rise with Naga, we expect a big meta shape up, and we're excited to see what you all make of it. As this new meta develops, we'll be applying the same balance philosophy when it comes to assessing players' feedback and looking at data. I hope this was informative. I'll see you in a tavern. John McIntyre, Hearthstone Battlegrounds lead designer. And then the exclamation marks are just like at least 5 games played in the last 20 days. It's late in the season, so MMR is the highest right now. We're only looking at the last 20 days. So this excludes players that play the new con and stop playing after a few weeks. So it means even this top 1% is the more engaged population.
Although, I guess 20 days is a decent amount of time.
Yeah, I mean, 5 games in 20 days is not a lot, to be fair. Yeah.
That's not, yeah.
It's almost, I play 5 games in a day, right?
I mean, I haven't played 5 days on NA or 5 games on NA in the last 20 days.
Oh.
I'm only counted once.
That's fair. Okay, so the final thing they said is like, I hope this example shows how even though not all individual balance changes for every change, we do balance for every player. I do think the example they used is very like rare. Like this isn't that Shutterwalk adjustment is one of those changes that you can pat yourself on the back, but not all their changes are like that. I would say like that elegant. So
just look at him, man. It shot down the tier in the face like 10 times.
Yeah, this is like a very good example that worked out for them, but it is not the normal way they adjust things. Like, it's hard. It's not normal because it's extremely hard to do, right? To see a problem where a hero is like too strong in this one section and too weak in this one section, and then adjust perfectly where it doesn't change how one subset of players do play it, but massively changing how the other does. Like that's so hard to get correct, right? And I do think like the Shutterwalk example is like a really effective change, but it's one of the like the rare and like few adjustments where they get it like that perfectly right. And obviously they're happy to share that, but it's not that common in their changes for that to happen where it just perfectly works out where the high level players don't feel the nerf or the buff, and then the average player is like, oh, this is a really good buff, I can really play this hero a lot more. It's just so hard to do. So I mean, go for it.
Yeah, like it's also a case where like most of the time the low level players and the high level players are going to be doing basically the same game plan, just high level players are going to do it more optimally. Whereas here, it's like the high level players have a completely different game plan. So then you can actually nerf one game plan without affecting the other, right?
Yeah.
But something like Gallywix, right? Or like whatever, right? Like everybody's trying to do the same thing. It's just that the good players are better at doing it.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah. But the other thing that kind of is weird is like they talk about nerfs being a higher priority than buffs.
Yeah.
But like it kind of rubs me the wrong way because it feels like they prioritize the nerfs when a hero is strong at all levels, but they don't do it when a hero is strong at high level, right? So it feels like there is a bit of a like they're doing it differently, right? Like we've had Jandis not get changed, we have Gallywix not get changed, right? We have Hook Dust never get changed, and so then like I don't know, that just kind of rubs me the wrong way, but
at the time they also didn't buff any heroes, right? While Jandis was problematic, no other heroes got buffed to match it, right? It's like it's prioritizing nerfs over buffs, but if at the time you're doing neither, then that's not really counter to this philosophy.
Yeah, like they don't like nerfing heroes at high level, but for example, when they buff, they usually do it for high level players. Because the last time they buffed heroes, they buffed like 10 heroes, and like 3 of them ended up being like top 5 best heroes, like Gallywix, Bran. They were just unplayable before.
Yeah, I mean,
they made multiple buffs that made heroes just broken at high level though. Like Tess and Ticketus buddies, like those buffs were like ridiculous.
Yeah, but they weren't ridiculous on all levels, so it's fine. No changes.
They were strong for us and weak for the for players.
Yeah, like you could like even Tess, like even late in the season, still like has a really bad win rate like across all ratings, and it's just like, well, this hero's busted, right? But there's the stats don't show that, right? It might show it like a little bit if you only look at top 1%, but if you look at like, all data, it doesn't show that. I think looking at all data, like if you're gonna look at HS replay, is probably a good indicator of what's getting adjusted. Like if you take a look at in these like the thing is HS replay doesn't even show bottom 50%, does it? It doesn't even do that.
No, it has it has everything and then top 50%.
Yeah, so you don't even get all the data, even if you were to use HS replay. You don't even know the data that they're specifically looking at to balance things. So it is a bit weird. I just like that. I'm not the biggest fan of only nerfing things. Like I think that philosophy is why we have so many bad heroes, right? Like there's so many heroes that like once you get to the competitive level are just unplayable, because what happened, they got nerfed and then they never get readjusted back into some playability, so they just stay nerfed until some big shakeup happens, and then they'll like do a buff or a new mechanic that helps them, right? But just all the heroes that like seem decent, they just get shotgun in the face, and then because they're like average across, like the one issue with balancing on all players is that almost every hero is gonna look average. You know, like there's not going to be a lot of difference between an average player playing the worst hero and an average playing the best hero. It's not going to feel that dramatic. Whereas you go to the competitive level and like you give them Jiraxis and you give them a Gallywix, and they always win with Gallywix, they never win with Jiraxis, right? You could, if you go in a low level lobby, you give them Jiraxis, you give them Gallywix, they could win with Jiraxis. They could win with Gallywix. They could lose with Jiraxis. They could lose with Gallywix. It doesn't matter, and it evens out what the data set looks like. Where if you were to look more about the high competitive, you'll see these huge discrepancies between heroes, and because they're looking at this from an all data perspective, it's hard to find those low-level outliers more than the high-level outliers, right? It's going to be a lot easier to see the innies always winning compared to, the Jiraxis sometimes wins, but like not really. It's only because the lobbies are so skewed that you could win with every hero, but it's actually a really bad hero on average. So I do think this philosophy causes a lot of like heroes to get nerfed and then never touched, which I don't think is a great philosophy, right? We see like Vander, we see Drekthar. We already know, like before buddies are gone, we already know that those heroes are going to suffer a lot. But will we see those heroes get buffed? Very unlikely, because they're gonna look at their data and they're gonna say, well, Vander sometimes wins at 2k MMR, like it's fine, you know. Obviously they never win at the top 1%, but can we really balance around that? It's fine, we'll just wait and we'll see. And oh, you know, maybe, you know, you know, I don't know, Alex Straza is now always gets Caligos, or Lich Bazal with the 10 armor in this Naga meta. Now that's overpowered, let's nerf that. And you're not going to see a lot of those like, oh, Vander's a real problem, it can't be played here. But because we all competitive players know that, they don't even have the data to check on Vander. Like there's not even enough data for them to be like, oh, Vander's unplayable, because we already know like that we're not touching these heroes, so they don't even have the data point to look at. So it's just so rough. You know, unless there's like 20 bad heroes and we have to play these bad heroes for them to have those data points, it's just going to be so impossible to deal with. Oh, these heroes just get nerfed and nerfed and nerfed, and then they never get buffed and buffed because the data they look at doesn't encourage them to be buffing these heroes. So.
Yeah. Also, like, I don't know, some heroes like Vandar and Rektar and Onyxia, all of these, like, I don't think there's even a way in which you can buff them and
Yeah,
make
but
them
you can
playable.
remove them, right? That's
you can remove them, but they didn't do it for
Yeah.
some reason.
The last time a hero was removed is well over a year ago, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's been 2 years by now.
I get it that they want some heroes for beginners, but we already have Keriel, Gaff, Pyramid, all of these ones. Like, why do we need more?
Vander is not a beginner hero, right? Like Drekthar,
No.
they're not beginner
Yeah, like,
friendly. They're just bad
They're not
without
even
buddies.
fun. Like, what's the purpose? Like, I can see them keeping Sneed because there is that niche amount of players that wants to have the Kinder Surprise in their minion and they have fun when they do it.
Yeah.
Like, what's the point of Drektar and the other one? Like, they don't make any sense.
They had some usability when Acolytes are in and when buddies are in, but both of those, I mean, Acolytes a lot harder to force, and there's no buddies for them to scale with, so it's just weird to keep them and then slap 10 armor and say it's fine, right? It's not gonna be fine. But I mean, I'm not necessarily here to like rag on this. I like that they're giving us context, right? Like I want to see more of this generally, but it is interesting because like as competitive players, we can obviously look and see like, oh, this, you know, maybe we have issues with some of these design philosophies, but I like that they're talking about it generally, even if it's not perfect for us at least. Oh yeah, pretty cool.
I'm also curious to see how Hooktask and Jandis and Mali, like how the token heroes will perform now that there is no more Red Hunter and no bodies.
Hooktask is a little bit special because you have that Battlecry coin unit.
Yeah, now you have the, but it's not a triple, right? It's just a coin.
Yeah, but the other two are a little bit weirder, for sure. So, we'll see.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's going to be good. So.
Yeah, they were really strong before, so maybe there will be like average.
Like Malagos is the only one that I can see really like actually struggle because of it.
Yeah, Mali's gonna struggle a lot, but even Jandis, I think the hero is still really good, but I don't think this is gonna be a meta for Jandis. Maybe once Nagas.
Once Nagas get nerfed, right?
Yeah, I mean,
once they inevitably
get nerfed.
The
5-drop Nagas are not really anything. So
yeah, they're not. Yeah, that's true. It's gonna be interesting, but yeah, pretty cool. I do like them showcasing their developer insights. We want more of this, even though, you know, it's not always going to resonate with us, right? As competitive players, we want things to be like more balanced as a competitive atmosphere, but generally it's just good to have this to see where they're coming from, because it makes you understand design decisions more and be less like, oh, I can't believe they did this, because at least you get to see where they're coming from, even if it's not always like going to feel relevant for us specifically as a as a high level community. So it's still cool. I like to see it. Also I love sharing the MMR distributions just generally. You can always do that. That's always a plus. Like you don't have to do it once a year. I think it's fine. So that's pretty cool. Well, yeah. Last topic. Any meta hero discussions? We kind of went through a lot.
One more thing.
Oh,
they have a slight update to the rating system that they have an article about.
Oh, do they? Okay.
Yeah. I don't know.
Wait, the MMR system?
Yeah. Wait.
Anyone have a link? We can take a look at that as well.
It's posted. Good.
Sweet. All right. Cool. They are tossing out everything today. Okay. That is cool to see. But yeah. Okay. There's more developer insights apparently. That's pretty cool. Don't know why they're doing it, but we like to see it. Yes. I should have done it.
I mean, this is old. But...
Oh, is it old? Yeah, this is old. This is like 2020.
Why is this?
Wait, I've been debated.
I have literally never seen this before.
This is 2020, my friend. This is very old. We've been debated by Jay Keurig. Okay, it's fine.
I have been debated by someone else.
Alright, fine, whatever.
I think this was even before the MMR truly reset.
Yeah.
No, this does say the internal reset.
All right, cool. Anyways, final thoughts. We got any last meta discussion, hero discussion, anything before we close things out? That's what I wanted to ask. Nope, nothing. No heroes, no meta. Anyone think Nagas are going to be good?
I gave my inputs.
I think you did.
Nah, I think that being able to permanently start scaling on turn 3 is like not that good.
Yeah, all right. I agree. I don't think we should be playing Nagas. If you guys watch this, guys, I just think avoid Nagas. Really, the meta,
especially if we're in your game.
Yeah, if you see my name, just like sell your units when you fight me, just because I think that's gonna give you the best chance of being on my good side. That's really more important than the victory, don't you think?
Put your mom bear first.
Anyways, yeah, I mean, whatever. I do think Nagas are probably get nerfed, right? And I also think a lot of the tier 6 units will end up getting adjusted in some way as well, especially the Quillbore one.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I feel like just Charlie looks like such a joke now.
Yeah. It's a bit rough.
Or you can run both.
You really could.
Copium.
Yeah. But...
Or you could just run 2 of the 6, 7,
yeah,
right? And then like more of them, and like a Hogger. I don't know.
Yeah, I think Quillbores might be the secret OP, but after Nagas, like after Nagas get nerfed, it's like Quillbore.
Even before, dude.
Yeah, I know. That's the real tech. Like ignore Nagas.
But also the thing is that if Quillbores and Nagas are good, that means Murlocs are extra good because they just have stats and poison.
Well, the thing about Quillbores now is there's 2 Divine Shields, right? So you have the Knight as well as the Tough Tusk. So you can easily get 4 Divine Shields. And then it's like you run double Leroy, right? And you're done, right? So it's not going to be that hard to deal with Murlocs, even if you are just full Quillbore, or
and
even
you make
full
Agam
Naga.
you can cleave, get an Agam, right?
Yeah. Or and
yeah.
At some point, like even if you're fighting Murlocs, I mean Murlocs can do this too, but you can buy that Divine Shield Agam as well to like counter some of the Murloc stuff if they're not paying attention. So there's quite a bit of answers, I think, to Murlocs. I don't think poison's going to be that prevalent, which scares me. I think that, but at least there's like some ways to deal with really big stats, but there probably won't be enough. I don't think people are going to be forcing Mantis Queens or anything like that, so we'll have to see.
I wonder if that's needed.
2 Leroys.
Yeah.
I wonder if they legitimately need to do something along the lines of what they did with Jandis Pogo, where they make a meta where people like understand that poison is a necessary aspect of the game. And then they bring some poison back. I don't know.
That could be
Yeah,
okay.
probably not.
Like, I'm
Probably, yeah.
pretty sure-
There's some heavy copium going on in my brain right now. But
I don't know. I think they actually just released Jandis to have an excuse to remove Pogo.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's exactly yeah.
Which again is also not actually what happened, but nice story.
That's
I don't know, dude. Like everybody liked Pogos.
the
except the
conspiracies
competitive players.
are large today, huh? Like, yeah.
They needed an excuse, Copium.
Like, okay, I think the very realistic thing is like they release Jandis. They understand that it's extremely broken with Pogo, but you can't just immediately remove Pogo. You need to like make people hate it first. So give them time to start hating it and then remove it.
Exactly.
Why isn't Pogo coming back? Yeah, that's the real question. Why did they take it away and never return it? They said fan favorites, and they gave us Bristleback Knight.
Nobody likes Bristleback Knight.
Yeah, like what the hell? That's not a fan favorite. Like they lied to us.
Actually, there was a dev that like 10 minutes after tweeted something like, okay, one is a fan favorite. Don't care about the other. He was so right, man. He was so fucking right.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't even bother putting it in a reveal because they knew nobody really cared.
Yeah. I still don't understand Champion being removed. Like this card is not that mean. Like, not a problem.
Okay.
It just seems innocent. Like the other cards, you know, like oh yeah, we're removing Amalgadon. Yeah, we're removing Flatus with Nagas. Yeah, we're removing what is the other Spore to add in Leroy. Yeah, it's just like Champion of Yashra. It's like what the hell? Like what did you do?
I mean, they just needed to remove. I think they just don't want tier 4 to be too diluted.
Yeah, I know, but it just felt so weird. Like, oh yeah, what did you do? Like, they're all in jail, and it's like, oh,
I did nothing, right?
I've been super toxic for 2 years. You know, Amalgadon, I'm the best card in the game. You know, they wanted to. You know, I've been hiding underneath the shadows. You know, Spore, I need to be removed. I've been, you know, robbed as what's the other cards that got removed? I have a picture. I could have just looked at
Linger.
Yeah, seafood. You know, I'm the secret between all the tier 6 people winning. You know, I seafood, give them more seafood, and I just make the Kellys OP. You know, I get golden Amalgadons. You know, I'm hiding beneath the shadows. He's a mafia boss. You know, you can see him going to jail. And Champion of Yashra is just walking out like, I just got framed. I don't know why I'm here. It seems a bit rough, you know, to be that minion there. So a bit weird, but they just needed someone to take the bullet, I guess, and Champion was the one.
Yeah, probably according to stats, it was like the least picked 4-drop, something like that.
I don't believe that, dude. I know there has to be worse 4-drops than that.
Hey, when is the last time that you saw somebody with a champion and he wasn't a streamer?
That's a good caveat to put in there.
I've never seen anybody in my lobby having a champion. Not once in months.
And he wasn't a streamer. I guess that's fair, huh? Okay. It's funny how effective that last statement is, but yeah. Oh. Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at the 4s right now, and I guess you're right. It is the worst one, huh? Yeah.
To be fair, I think reanimating Rattler deserves to be removed for it. But
I mean, you need Rattler though for Beast.
Yeah, Beast sucks.
No, you don't. No,
they don't, but still, Beast wouldn't have any legging capability without Rattler.
Yeah, you never win with Beast if you don't have Rattler.
Yeah, but you're also not incredibly toxic if you don't have Rattler. So, I don't know.
I agree that Beasts are going to be really strong. I think
you can nerf the toxic Beast cards and keep the consistency of Rattler. Like, you can nerf Croc. You can nerf Crush, right?
Right, you can nerf Croc, Mama, Crush, and Spoiler.
Mama is fine. I think
Mama's fine.
Reborn Mama is not fine.
Yeah.
Mama is fine. Reborn Mama is not fine.
I think it's fine without Croc.
Yeah.
And like without Zephyrus just getting golden
Yeah.
Mama Bear on turn 7, right? Like
it's
the reason I'm
Zephyrus.
thinking, yeah, like it's not Mama Bear. It's don't blame Mama Bear for Zephyrus' sins.
Don't forget Golden Baby Crush on turn 7. Then you never lose until turn 12.
I think it's generally fine, honestly. Champions just like it just doesn't fit anything realistically, so it just gets removed there. But it's not a bad
It's
card.
Rainbow or George.
Now you can always stack Wind Fury against Beast. Like Wind Fury hurts them so much, and you can just buy the Wind Fury Naga.
Yeah.
Give something.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Giving Wind Fury for free is pretty gonna be really impactful. Like it's sneaky good, I guess. Like when it comes to like late game tech options, the amount of effectability, like if you're just like, oh yeah, I just put Wind Fury on my key unit or a cleave or something, and I go first, I win, right? And that's just
Yeah,
really
but
powerful.
also mid game. Like sometimes you buy Ghoul against Max and George. Now you can buy Wind Fury against Beast, and it's a good tech card. You don't even need to keep it on your board.
Yeah.
That's how I look at that card. The card is more of a tech card for this situation.
Yeah, I would agree that it's more of a tech card, but still pretty cool. But yeah. All right. I think we've reached the end. Actually, guys, we made it. We actually got done. Any final thoughts?
It wasn't even that long. We didn't even reach the 4-hour threshold.
No, we didn't, which I guess is due to I don't know. There's only 4 people.
Yeah, probably.
Sometimes we have like 7, 8 people, and things go on and on and on, and there's never a stopping point for a single topic. But with 4 people, it's easy to like get to a point where I think everyone said their fill. So.
Yep.
Yeah.
Pretty good. Thanks for being here, guys. I was slightly worried I was gonna have to solo this, because I didn't.
No worries.
I didn't invite anyone. I was just like, I guess we're gonna do it today because today is the only day that makes sense, and I hope some people come. So, don't worry. So, thank you for being here.
Yeah, it was fun as usual.
Give me something to do on this day when I'm just waiting for tomorrow to come.
Yeah.
I mean, I would have streamed Arena otherwise. So.
Glad to have you guys. Got Jake, Carrick, Sleepy, and Soren. Make sure you give you guys a follow. If mods are in the chat, you can definitely put their links there. But we're kind of done for the podcast, and I will upload this at some point today, probably after.
Oh wait, my link is wrong. I just noticed that.
The link. Fix the link. You dumb mod. Sorry. Sorry, I'm not insulting the mods. The mods do all the work here. But yeah, I will.
All right. Good night, boys, and have fun tomorrow.
Yeah.
Bye bye.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Take care of yourselves.